Dimp Digital presents Idle Game Chat.
Cool.
Hello, Apps here from Dimp Digital. Welcome to Idle Game Chat for May 2025. I said we would be back despite having a bit of a truncated preparation time for May due to the Nintendo Switch 2 announcements and reveals. So we delayed that for a week to get that out to you with that opinion piece, I guess. And we're back in May, so we're back to our normal slot of the first Tuesday of every month, but earlier for our patrons. So patreon.com/Dimp Digital will give you early and ad-free access if you want to get that, but really you're just paying for us to have a few pints occasionally, maybe once a year together, to soak up the success of Dimp Digital, which is not very big, but that doesn't matter. We're doing it as a hobby, so we appreciate anyone that comes along. Pretty good episode, very game focused this particular month. Obviously, the news of GTA 6 being delayed is a major kind of talking point. I was going to do a segment on it with someone. I just thought, well, it is what it is. I mean, I was thinking this thing wasn't going to make 2025, if I'm honest. And they've come out and said 2026, in May. So they've put a specific date on it. The actual date escapes me. I've got the 26th in my head. I don't know if that's correct. But I don't expect them to hit that date either. And I think the earliest we'll see it is probably the summer of 2026, if not autumn, winter holiday time. So that opens up a lot of opportunities for other games that were probably waiting for GTA 6 to go first. The first kind of tip-off for me was Ghost of Yotei getting a release date in October, and I thought, well, yes, that's a Sony project, but Sony will be the second biggest, if not the biggest platform. Well, initially it'll be the biggest platform for GTA 6 when it comes out, because the PC release maybe won't be their day one. Maybe it'll be a staggered release like they've done previously. I could be wrong on that, but whatever. First or second, it doesn't matter. And then putting down the October date, I thought, well, they would be in the know. You know, they would know, being they're going to be the biggest provider, or one of the biggest providers for GTA 6, the biggest platform on consoles for sure. They would have an understanding from Take-Two, Rockstar, whoever, of whether that was going to make it within that period. And seeing that in October, I thought, well, that's either means GTA 6 is coming imminently, like we're going to get an announcement soon. It's going to come out, before October, or it's going to come later in the year. But even then, I thought probably not, because I think Yotei would suffer. I think any game within its sphere will suffer. So they have put out the window for 2026, so the game publishers know. Like I said, I don't expect them to stick with that. I think we could see at least one more delay for it. So if I was putting a game out next year, I would be watching very closely with the communications coming out of Rockstar. But yeah, GTA 6 not coming in 2025, not surprising to me. Some people are crestfallen. In terms of Fantasy Gaming League fallout, that has cost Adcock in the Grand Prix. He has got Grand Theft Auto 6 as his number one pick, so he's not going to be getting that. So he's got a few transfers to make. The next transfer window opens in June, so there's a little ways away from that. In terms of the Grand Prix, Adkins in the lead with 416 points. He has the most amount of games out. He's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 out. Closest to him is 311, which is Biff, who has got 4 games out. So he's under got over 100 gap there. So something needs to be done for him to get that. The championship match, which is the big one, Hall versus Paper. Paper has now lost GTA 6, so that's going to require a transfer out. He has got Ghost of Yotei though, so providing that hits its date, that's locked in for October. And he's also got Doom: The Dark Ages, which is imminent. So a couple of games there that's gonna drop out. What else has he got lurking here? Fable, we're not sure of. Death Stranding on the Beach, that's got a date in June. Gears of War E-Day we're not sure of. So a couple there that might need to be dealt with. But he had Split Fiction that came out and got a 90, which is good to see. So he'll be very, very happy with that. Hall, he's got Elden Ring Night Rain coming, Metro Prime 4, Tony Hawk's 3+4, Slay the Spire, Dave the Diver DLC, Subnautica. Yeah, there's a little bit of ropiness going on there. They've both got an average of 84. Hall's only got 2 games out. Paper with 4, so 336 versus 163. A quick tip of the cap to Parky, who was the only person actually to put Claire Obscure Expedition 33 in his team. Currently sitting on a 92 as I record this. And I've been playing the game and I'm enjoying it. And eventually I'll get to sharing my opinions on that game with you. Anyway, I'm going to try and do a short intro like I normally do. So we're just over 5 minutes. We're doing well. This month's episode, we've got Monster Hunter Wilds. Adkins and I played through, I guess you can call the story portion and the end game portion of that. It doesn't really end the end game portion. It's sort of like goes on and on until you decide that I'm done with hunting or gathering armor and weapons, etc. But we waited until the first title update had been announced and gone in. So we've got a little bit of an impressions of the early stages of that title update, which hit early April. So that's going there. He then played a slew of Super Mario games on the Nintendo Switch Online, so we'll get some opinions on that. Logan returns with some Fragpunk chat, which I didn't expect to hear. Season 0, I think it is. It's all the details are in the chat. And then Mythwrecked Ambrosia Island. So this is a 3.5 hour-ish episode, so I think that's a good pace, and we will return in June for another similar episode. I'm not going to string this out. Like I said at the top, if you do want to support us, patreon.com/DimpDigital is the place to go. For as little as £3 UK a month, you can support us and get early and ad-free access to the podcast, but really what you're doing is giving us some beer money. So if you want to do that, do it. If you don't want to, fine, we're happy having you freeloaders. Honestly, it don't bother me. If this is my job, I'd be very worried, though. Like, deeply concerned. And maybe it is my job. Maybe I've been laid off. Maybe I've quit. Maybe I've been sacked. So, actually, think about that. Put your free fucking pan down. Anyway, I'll see you on the other side. Monster Hunter Wilds. A new Monster Hunter entry from Capcom. First one since Rise. Wow, does that one count? Some people say Down switched to Sunbreak came out, so they did give it the full works at the end. But we've both spent the last, not constantly, the last couple of 6 weeks, 8 weeks, whatever it's been, playing Monster Hunter Wilds. We were going to do this a bit earlier, but then they announced there was a title update that went live literally at the start of April. So I thought I'll give that a go, see what's in there. Because that's the first time I've gone for a title update from launch, because I've played it retrospectively before, late on. But what's the if you can do a headline for Monster Hunter Wilds, what's the headline?
Don't fucking buy it on PC. Yeah. Excellent fucking game, but riddled with performance problems on PC. Should have bought on PS5 is my headline.
What's the just so people get some context, they'll be like, he ain't got the right gear, is he? He's sitting there on a 1070 fucking
1070
Intel CPU. He's struggling. What's he got? He can't have the bit.
I've got the second best. What's it called? Well, actually, no, the third best. The third best graphics card you can buy.
Yep.
You've got the 5090, and I think they reckon that the 4090 is just slightly better than the 5080. I don't know how they've done that. Although Lord Sir Dave reckons that in months to come that the updates might push it beyond the 4090.
Right, yeah, he did
once
say
they start
that,
unlocking stuff. So potentially the second best card in the planet.
That sack of shit blanked me the other day. I was trying to get him to code something jokingly.
And he went, no.
Just went,
Okay.
Flat out ghosted it. I was like, interesting. When Dimpcon's coming back, does he want to lose out on his free beers? He might do if he carries on that sort of behaviour. I like to hold a grudge.
Yeah. So I've got no fucking problems running anything else. This bad boy's doing 4K 120. You know, the odd DLSS everywhere, but it's beast in everything. But I played the I didn't play the beta, actually, the beta on PC. I played that on PlayStation. But then I opened up the benchmark, fucking walloped that. Was like, right, here we go. And then, as soon as I got it, it was like, oh, what is this?
And this is like, it's been out, what, 6, 7, 8 weeks, and it still hasn't been fixed.
Still ain't been patched. They've acknowledged it, and
they've Roman Reigns it.
They've acknowledged it, put up the one, and gone, it will be fixed. Said it was last week, but I don't know what that patch has gone. Yeah. I assumed the patch that was going to be was the new update was going to sort it, but nope, it fucking ain't. And when you go on those Steam discussions, I mean, it's rife on there. I think I haven't been on there for a while, but I think the store page was sitting at a mixed thing. Mixed rating. What's the Hunt and Wild Steam? Let's have a look what we're sitting on now. Mixed, both mixed. 22,000 reviews. Cool. And that is, so to its credit, this is just a performance thing. I'm trying to think, what was the last big game that was like? I suppose a not Shadows. What was it? Star Wars, what was that called?
Jedi Survivor.
Jedi Survivor, another thing which was like a great game, but the fucking optimization and performance was dog shit. It really did take away from the experience. Yeah. So I'm going to try and be diplomatic and take the game away from, well, to be fair.
I only got suckered into this PC edition. I was being told, get benchmarking. I was like, hey, I'll do that. And I didn't. And then I saw Digital Foundry doing a PS5 Pro review, and I was like, it runs well on there. And I was like, I'm just going to play it safe.
Get there.
Because it ran like fucking shit, didn't it, on the original PS5? That alpha, whatever you did.
Fuck me. When I played that alpha, that was dreadful. I was like,
really concerned that those consoles.
I thought they were going to bring it 30 FPS only. I thought that was a real concern.
Indeed. I ended up playing on the PS5 Pro. So the headline is smooth as silk with a pro buff.
Beautiful.
But not without its issues. Not technical necessarily, but other things that we'll get into. Yeah. But those that are going down the PC path, hopefully in a couple of months they'll get... I think... Yeah. I don't know if this has happened before with Monster Hunter games. You'll probably know better than me. But if it has, I would imagine they'll fix it and get there. It's just a pain in the ass when you've gone in day one and having to deal with it.
I was PS4 for Worlds.
Yeah.
And then I did play a little bit of PC, but that was again after, I think Salmon had it on his little fucking family share. So I played it for like an hour on there, and that ran fine, but that was after time. So it's potentially... and then obviously the other one I played on Switch, unbelievable.
Yeah. Did you not get the PC version of that?
I did actually. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I did. Yeah, I played that once. After that Sunbreak was over, I was like, right. Before, I think once there was some footage of this, I was like, right, I need to get that. I was in a Monster Hunter hype, and then managed to whip through what was it called? Rise again in like about 20 odd hours, and then start the DLC. And then that came to a halt.
Yeah.
but that ran perfectly fine. That was flawless.
Yes.
I mean, it is a less demanding game, not very as visually pleasing, but pleasing. But certainly, that ran perfectly fine. Which you do need a consistent frame rate for this type of game.
Ideally,
it can't be jittery. It's it's action, and very much relies. It'd be like fucking playing them fucking Souls games like this with your fucking.
Or even if it was running like that.
Well, that is true. Yeah.
People let them get away with it. Even if it was a locked
30, I probably would have been fine. But this it just spikes all day long. Really annoying.
Well, hopefully they'll get there on that front. And PC folk, and it doesn't seem like there's any way of getting around it either on the PC. Like you said, you've got a fucking 5090 and a whole new rig, and it's just doesn't. You can't brute force it. It seems there seems to be just some.
There's people with like $4,000 PCs that are saying they're having the same issues. You're like, well,
exactly. But Wilds in itself is a bit of a well, it's not strange, but it's coming after Rise, which was a main entry, but came to Switch first only, and then didn't come to other platforms. And then the last one I played was World with Iceborne. I don't even know if I jumped on until after that had come out. In fact, so it was kind of late doors. But you've been there for the last for Rise as well, so you've probably got a better perspective on how much has changed. But
yeah,
with these games, there's lots of things that do change, but from the outside, you'll go, looks the same. And to be fair, you'd be right in saying that, but some of the stuff they have handled or made a difference with does make some significant changes if you're aware of how the game played previously. Where to start? Let's go into a little bit of a combat area. I think that is the bread and butter of this. You're here for the combat. You're here for the monsters to be taking them down, slaying them, capturing them, whatever you want to do. I suppose one of the headline features is that you can now carry 2 weapons into a hunt.
Sort of went under the radar, that did as well. Not really many people spoke about that in the previews or anything. Nope. And that's a massive thing. I was like, cool, you've never had this. I mean, on the ones I've played, I have dabbled with some of the older ones, but never sort of given them a good shagging, so to speak. But yeah, as far as I'm aware, that is a new entry to the franchise, and a welcome one. Although saying that, over my 45 hours playtime, I don't think I changed that much, to be honest. I sort of the odd couple, but I did sort of seem to stick, mainly because of it, like I wasn't struggling as much. I think this game is certainly is the easiest of the Monster Hunter game. Easier than Rise, definitely. Yeah, there were some fucking hard bastards in that. This is certainly the more accessible, and I feel like that's what they were going for with Worlds. Worlds was a big jump-on point for a lot of players.
Yeah,
pretty much both of us. I mean, you know, like I say, I did dabble with some of the older games, but never properly. Worlds was the first one played through to completion, and got sucked into these games. And I think the sales show that as well. I think World was their biggest selling one, and that
it is Capcom's biggest selling franchise.
It is it?
Yeah. After Worlds came out,
and Street Fighter, cool. Yeah. Fuck me. So I feel like they were going for that with this as well, sort of trying to carry on that.
Yeah, the Capcom's got the website. I cut him off, but whilst it's in my brain, you can go to this website, capcom.co.jp, and it will obviously score it and whatnot. But they've got a page called Platinum Titles, and it basically lists all their games essentially and gives you the millions of units sold. And
really?
This is as of December 31st, 2024. Monster Hunter World, number 1, 21.3 million sold on that. Number 2, Monster Hunter Rise. So the top 2 games ever in Capcom.
I would have thought Resi 2 Remake would have outsold
Resi 2's
Rise.
on 15 mil, so it's not too far away. Iceborne on its own is 14.9 million, making out the top 4. Resident Evil 7 lurking on the top 5. Yeah. But I do like this little site. I just think it's... I always just check it.
Where's Street Fighter 2? Is that
yeah, let's have a look. Sunbreak's top 10, so that's made it into the ether. Oh. Street Fighter 5 is 30. Street Fighter 2 is 14th, 6.3 million units.
Really?
Well, I think there's like a weird like disconnect. You think, that was obviously a massive game, Street Fighter 2, and it had a number of different versions of it. I don't think this necessarily counts all those. But games weren't selling like 10 million units back in the day.
And Monster Hunter is mental in Japan as well, I suppose.
Dragon's Dogma down in 32, 3.5 million. Put them in the red. Yeah. So Monster Hunter in itself is like Capcom's biggest top 2. Yeah. They've got their lurking.
Incredible.
And so Wilds will be in that top 5, I imagine. I think they've already announced it sold through 10 million, so it's going to hit the 15s probably. I don't know what you were saying before I went rich.
Just the the game that it's just very approachable, very easy to. It's a good jumping on point, very cinematic. Even more so, I felt that was with World compared to Rise. Rise was very arcadey and very traditional, whereas World was very cinematic. This is by far the biggest cinematic entry. Certainly not like in terms of story, the cinematics, even like the entry of the monsters and stuff, the introductions. Very cinematic. And it's probably like it feels like a proper campaign, whereas I mean, you're not doing anything else other side than standard monster hunting, but just like the like I said, them introductions of like, rather than in Rise, you just literally, the monster would flash up and you'd have this like Japanese cutscene, and it would just be sort of introducing the monster, and then boom, black screen, you're into the fight. Whereas this, literally, it's got like that sort of seamless transition of cutscene to fighting, and you're like, oh, I'm in. But we were starting with combat, weren't we? Them two went sort of under the radar, having two weapons, and you get all the weapons that God knows how many there are. To be fair, I never really change it up. To be honest, I am a bit of a fucking creature of habit. I do stick with my long sword and my fucking anime insect glaive. I've always wanted sword and shield. I went the last Rise. I strayed from that this time. I can't really get on with the fucking big sword.
I played. It's 14 weapons.
It's too sluggish. 14. That's it. The guns are fucking brilliant.
I did like the first probably half of the first part of the campaign. We'll get into how it's kind of structured later.
Right.
Probably about 50% through, and then I went back to my light bow gun, because that is like easy mode. Like, you just have to stay out of trouble, like keep your distance, and you can still just pick away and do damage. But I did have a bit of a go with the great sword, because it'd be like the opposite, because you have to be in close. It's very slow. You're not mobile. And it was good. To be honest, I've done the great sword and shield. I've migrated to now. Light bow guns like my go-to backup. If I'm in a spot of bother, I'll just revert back to that and just say, I need to just stay out of. Like, if we've got like 3 feints that have happened, I'm like, right, there's one more, we'll be down here, so I'm just going to stay out of the business. So those 3 I sort of played with. The great sword got, it just fell away eventually, but sword and shield now is like my main, and then light bow gun as a backup, and if maybe when an expansion comes out, I'll pick something else. That's the good thing about the game. You can just pick another item, and it does fundamentally change how the game, for yourself anyway, or for the individual, operates. Like, you've got to learn a whole new move set. The depth is still there. They've not simplified the combat in any way. Like, you can still, some of them, like I think sword and shield's really good to pick up and play, and so is the light bow gun. But to get the most out of them, there's a ton of different combos and little subtle things that it won't tell you. So you have to find those out on your own. So it's kind of like, yes, it's approachable, but I still think there's a big gap between going the extra layer. Like, surface level, it looks like, hand holding, we've done all this, onboarding's good, but there's still stuff they don't talk about. Like, really, those armor jewels and all this shit. Like, it's still just left to the wayside for you to fucking troll through Reddit and Google file factories and then
bring it back. There's two gems that they've been in the franchise for ages. Just two, not gems, I don't know what they're called, charms they're called. But you can, if you have them just active in your inventory, then they give you a massive stat boost. I couldn't find a single thing that sort of told you that, and no sort of codex, nothing. Just shut that out. You just happened to read it on like a fucking Reddit post. I was like, cool, get that.
I even went through like the online manual to see on there, and there's still stuff on there that's missed. Like, it does not cover everything. I don't know why that's the case, but it is. But nonetheless, there's 14 options there for people, and now you can take 2 out into battle. So if you need to switch it up, or if you just want to, you can. I never felt like I said. There's a couple of occasions when I was being a bit conservative, and I was like, right, back to the light bow gun. But
Yeah.
you know, for the most part, it's stick with what you've got. But I like the option to have it as a fallback.
Yeah,
because
definitely. Yeah.
there are certain instances where you might want to change, or if you're just playing a session, you might just think, "Oh, I'll switch it now." And you know, yes, you could have done that before and switched it before you went out on the hunt, but now you haven't got to. It's just going to be on your mount. That's the only sort of thing they've added to make it not ridiculous is that you have to get on your mount to change your weapon.
Yeah.
And you can't just change it whilst you're roaring around on the
Nah,
feet.
that is pretty good.
It's almost like Red Dead Redemption. I remember that too. You'd
Oh,
change your
yeah,
weapon
you
on the
did,
horse saddle.
yeah.
You'd put like you
That's
can only carry out
true.
one big weapon and one smaller one, I think.
That's right.
You go and change it at your mount, but nonetheless, weapons I've enjoyed. I'm still like, yeah, maybe one day, maybe for the next big update or the expansion, I'll pick something else. But
Yeah.
had a little dabble of great sword and shield, and then the light bow gun. The bow I want to get a go at. That's sort of like a harder ranged weapon, so that's something to migrate to, but no rush. But I really liked, and it's a really small. I don't know if it's even that small. Actually, I think it's quite a big thing. Is the focus mode where you can essentially aim where you're hitting, and if you've got a light bow gun, you'd be doing this anyway. So I was used to that.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you what, of that great sword early on, like I can imagine. I remember I tried it in World, and you basically had to just line your character up to face the monster and swing, and that's where you'd swing. Now you can hold, I think it's L1.
Yeah, that's it.
And you can sort of aim where you're going to hit, and your character will move towards that. It won't skip animations to get there. Like if it's a long winding one, it'll still sort of but it'll go towards that direction. So the next one might be bang on target. It's very small. It's like, well, what are you talking about? It's a little reticle, but it's like that's stops you whiffing on so many combos and so many like big power moves that you probably wind up on. Like that's almost like I couldn't go back to not having it now.
Nah, they do that a lot with these games. That like the further going from World to Rise to now Wilds, every entry there's stuff now that I imagine going back to Worlds would be such a slog.
Yeah.
Having to walk everywhere. You got no mounts.
Oh,
You
yeah.
got no wire bugs to fling around. No double weapons.
No.
Yeah, and now I've got to say, yeah, that is. I love this feature. The what's it called? Focus mode.
Yeah.
And yeah, it actually helps to help when you're looking for certain parts.
Yeah.
So if like I'm looking for a new armor and it requires like a I don't know, like a towel or something, I can just really focus on that, fucking do focus attacks on his towel, and yeah, all of a sudden you open him up, a cut comes open and it starts flashing red. Press
it.
R1, bang. Then it sort of does this little sort of finishing move, sort of slash thing, makes it look brilliant, and then yeah, it pops a fucking an ornament or whatever or some
That's
sort
it.
of part that you need. It's fucking brilliant. And I always found that was my winning formula whenever I was in a multiplayer game, and it gives you the rewards at the end. It'd be
It's
like
always targeting
hit
the weak
heals.
points.
It'd be always like
Or the
fucking
wounds.
whatever. That's it. I can't remember what my character. Oh, Osprey.
Yeah.
Osprey. It'll say 5 focus attacks or whatever like
Yeah.
that. It's like yes, yeah. I really did love that feature. That was a good added benefit.
The target of the wounds is really good because once you've hit it, it sort of locks you onto it, and then like with the sword and shield, it would cling on to the monster, and then I could choose to do a triangle, which would just do like a slashing damage, or I could buff it with my fucking shield, and you fly up in the air, and then you can slam it on the way down as well.
That's it. Really pain.
Yeah, but again, like that was just a nice feature because also if you work on a leg, the wound will appear. Like it's all contextualized on where you're hitting the monster. So there is some strategy to it. It's not just randomly appearing. These wounds are opening, and then later on, when you get tempered monsters, they've got scars on them, which I assume are from like old battles because they're like old like big like legends or veterans. I guess they've had loads of fights. And you can open those up if you target those specific scars.
Yeah,
and there's like a blue
they didn't
wound.
tend to drop actual armor parts or anything. They seem to drop like ammo for sort of just flicking things at them, but they're then done fucking extreme damage.
Yeah, they do like for the slingshot or the
that's it, slingshot. That's the one.
Yeah, that slinger. They put some like heavy duty like fucking ammo that you can pick up for that.
Yeah.
But even just the focus mode on its own and the focus striking would have been enough. But being able to just switch the weapons out is nice as well. They did fuck me over a little bit on the light bow gun. And again, this is not written anywhere. This is knowledge that I took from World that I had to fucking watch a YouTube video on. So people are saying this is like, oh, it'll tell you everything. It won't. So get that out of your head. There's certain ammo types that you can use for the light bow gun. That's what kind of makes it nice and versatile. If you want like a poison ammo, you can craft it. Blah blah. Only certain weapons allow you to load certain ammo types. It never tells you that.
So that's not out of order.
So you have to look at what the ammo types will appear before you craft something. But again, the game will never tell you that.
Was that in Worlds as well?
Same as World, yeah. I think it was, yeah.
Right,
I think at one point though, I got to the stage where I had like the same weapon tree, so I knew I was always going to get the same ammo types. But in Wilds, there's no light bow gun as we record this very second that I can create that will let me use slicing ammo, which I love to use to cut tails off.
God,
And I was in there fucking hours over my 60, 70 hour playthrough just thinking, what am I doing wrong? Like, why can't I? Turns out light bow gun ain't got access to it, even though it's sitting there in your fucking ammo pouch. So I don't know what they thought they were doing there. So yeah, that was a bit of a blower.
I will say this: they have seemed to mess with it. As I was saying earlier, that I can get these names all mixed up. Rise was very arcadey, but it was also so simplistic. To I just had a routine. I'd go kill a monster, go back to the hub, refill my fucking thing, and then go back and off I go. Eat and off I go. This it weren't until you told me that you could just replenish it. You have to go around the fucking houses just to replenish what you've already got in there. Yeah, I literally press one button on Rise just to restock my loadout, and I've got all my fucking things. With this, you've got to go through the houses, press the fucking left trigger button or whatever it is, the fucking analog button, then go through a menu. There it is, restock. Right, do that. Make sure everything's there. Just fucking little things like that. They sort of. I don't know, they just messed... yeah, they did, yeah. And, much to my annoyance, I got up the cunt, that did.
I didn't figure out the loadout thing until late on, probably I think I'd finished all the quests that were there, and I was like, oh, so this is how you replenish. So you select a loadout. I think the game wants you to create a load of loadouts depending on monsters, depending on what you're doing, which is good.
Did you use the shortcuts much?
Only the radial menu to heal and put like the if you got poisoned or something, like the anti-poison. I like that you didn't have to fucking fumble and get the right anti-burn or whatever. You just picked the ailment that would be resolved, like a purple potion essentially. I don't even know what it was called. And it would either concoct it or you'd have it in your inventory and it just picked the right one. Same with the health building as well. Used to fumble around and to pick do I want a mega potion or a potion? There's the radial menu this time. You can just let it just select the most. I don't know, the one that fits best for that situation. So if you've got a load of health missing, it'll do a mega potion. If you've got a little bit of health, it'll just pick a normal potion. That kind of streamlined that a little bit. But I didn't get involved with creating new shortcuts or anything like that. I just like to hold L1 if I've got to scan through stuff, and I'll deal with that crappy menu at the bottom. But I don't know what the solution is to that, because there's so much stuff. There's just too much that you can do. There is a fucking
plethora of it, And I kept finding as well that normally I'd be going through the world just sort of fucking grabbing everything. Got that grabber steel that you get from Iceborne. That sort of fucking clutch claw, whatever it was, where you could grab the hook thing.
You can do it whilst on the mount as well. You can go past.
So I was just doing that, but then as soon as you keep finding items that you haven't got in your inventory, it's like, fill up. I was like, fucking hell. So I just keep lobbing everything. It does then go to your...
stash.
Stash, that's it. But you're just like...
That's the main reason I set up a loadout. It's because I was getting so fed up with it telling me... Because it bring up a menu and say, what do you want to do with it? I'm like, I don't want this decision. I was just picking it up because it was there. Whereas
Yeah.
when I'd do my loadout, it'd be it'd be like 10 gaps of stuff. So very rarely did I ever fill it up. But yeah, that was an annoyance at times.
Yeah, that did get at me.
But the mounts themselves are much more useful. What they call
secret.
secrets.
So they binned off the fucking. What was it? You had the fucking investigation. There are investigations in there. They don't really do much, to be honest.
Yeah, this is part. There's no, as far as I know, there's no mission where you go out, find all like the claw marks, put a scent on your mount, and it goes and finds the monster. Everything's just on the map, so you just go to it if you want to. So that whole investigation where you find like it took a shit here, and you do like 3 or 4 of them, and it'll go right location.
That was it.
They
had
have
to
just
do that
removed
for every monster, didn't we? For Worlds,
which was a pain. Like
fucking bugs. Yeah, it was.
Because then you have to level up the flies as well to make them more.
That's it.
Initially, at least, you have to like.
Yeah.
They've cut all that out, which I think, to be honest,
that was the right move. But it's just weird that they still have those investigations. I did do a couple, but it's just it was like you said, they're already on there. You just sort of go to a scratch mark or a hair, and then you'd be like, right, I'm in the battle. Yeah, you just get points. I suppose it's just another currency, I suppose. But
yeah, my understanding of the investigations now, they allow you to spin up any monster you want to face.
Right.
So if they're not on the map you're on live, because we'll get to how the sort of maps have changed slightly, in that they're a bit more seamless now, then you can just hit an investigation, spend 120 points, and it'll spawn a quest. Now, 9 times out of 10, there's an optional quest in your log that you can use, and obviously if you're going to help people as well, you can find an SOS flare. So it's a bit redundant, but I think it just allows people, if they want to be really specific about location, monster, blah, 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 you can sort of just trigger one and go into it.
Yeah, because I think there was a time, it was not much, a mission or something I had to do, and it was, say it was like in the fucking wilds, that first level, whatever that's called, the plains. And it was a monster that doesn't normally typically spawn there. So I must have had to do something like that, or go there at a certain time. You had to change it up. Mm-hmm. So I suppose it's benefits for that, but up your ass with it.
Yeah. So the secrets now are useful for, you can control them fully, which I think you could do in Rise, couldn't you? They wouldn't. They weren't on rails.
In Rise, you could run. Well, you just had that dog. You had the dog you could run around on. You could attack off him like this. You could literally attack off as well. Yeah. You could. You could mine stuff. Off of them. I don't think you couldn't grab everything like what you can with the secrets, because you got them fucking claw hook thing that you got. But it's very, very handy, and they're a lot faster. Them dogs, you could just literally run up. You could run around and then run up vines, but with this thing you can go all over the show. If there's like
there's like little paths they can go on, only they can go on to like shortcut.
That's it. There was a bit of a map where I got stuck and I couldn't go on there without the fucking secret. You have to get on it and fully customizable as well.
Yeah, change the colour of their feathers.
Any colour you want. Put different fucking saddles on it as well.
Yeah. Full customization of the secret in the in battle as well. I find that when you get knocked down, you can call it in quickly to pick you up, and it's supposed to take you out of the fight. But a few times I've definitely been hit when I've been on the back of one where they've not circled right. But I use that quite a bit. If I was doing like a spot of bother, I'd quickly call it in, heal, antidote, whatever.
I like doing, I think when I ran into the first battle, certainly with the longsword what I was using, if you held triangle and circle, or Y and B, you do like a move where you sort of jump off of the secret and then slash at the same time, and if you landed it correctly, it would mount the monster as well.
Right.
So it was pretty good.
Yeah, that is handy to use them, and you can use them to explore. Or if you've got a marker on the map, you can go on the map and obviously put like a waypoint down. You just press up on the D-pad when you're on the secret, and it will just go to that location and sprint there. So
feet up, lovely.
It is feet up. I mean, but the only thing is, if you actually want to explore,
Yeah, that's true.
No, you just run past things now, and it's a bit like makes that a little bit redundant. But I'd rather have that than be that useful, because I just remember World running.
Yeah.
And we had to unlock the mounts. I remember there's like a quest line you have to do of like those stupid little fucking tree bastards that I can't remember what they're called. But I think there's like a 4-stage quest thing you had to do to unlock them on World. And then they still had to be trained and shit. And I was like, wow, come on. And I think they only worked on some maps.
Yeah.
Whereas obviously in Rise, you've got the little dog. And in this one, they've gone, right, secret installed, full customization. Lovely. And you can name it, obviously.
Yeah.
Give it a new name, which is always good.
Can't remember. I think I just kept mine as secret. I can't remember now.
Cool.
The cat, what are they called? Fucking.
They called it Fletcher.
Called it Mr. Bigglesworth.
Calis.
That's it, Palico. That's the one. Yeah. What was I going to say? There's something that went in my head then. Pop-up camps, that was it. That was another thing. So in World, you had the camps, but there was like 2 or 3 per map. Exactly the same in Rise as well.
Yeah.
But you had to find them. They were like hidden within the world. You'd find like a little fucking nook, and then you'd like send your little palicos, and they'd build it for the next time you came. Now you have pop-up camps all around the map. Quite a few. There's like fucking 10 in one map or whatever. Yeah. You can only have a certain amount at one time. But fucking half of them are just in the middle of nowhere, and without even touching them, they get destroyed by monsters.
Yeah,
it tells you, doesn't it, as well?
I don't know what that's all about. One thing I never used was the pop-up camp.
No.
There's certain like when you see one, it'll say if it's safe, dangerous, or insecure. I think it's the other one. And basically, if it's insecure or dangerous, at some point it'll be ruined, and you have to pay to get it put back up again. And I was just like, there's no need for this. I did all the safe ones I found, because then if you do you faint, you go back there. But because the secrets are so fucking quick, you could go back to the base camp and you'd still be back in the fight pretty quickly. So it just rendered. I don't know what they thought they were playing at with this. I don't want us to manage that. So garbage.
And you're just spending more resource points on popping them back up again.
I mean, I got 60k in the bank, but I don't want to be squandering it. I might need it for something big later on down the line. That was a strange thing to have. Like, they're not permanent. Yes, the ones that you find that are marked safe don't get destroyed, but still, I don't know what they thought they were doing with that bit. It seemed needless to me. Yeah. One of the big headline features, at least when it was showing off, was this kind of seamless environments and maps where you don't just load into an environment, you don't spawn into an environment, you can just wander out of the camp and the world is there, which is very different to how World played, at least, because you couldn't even go into the forest without doing a quest. A quest had to be active. So if you wanted to collect resources, you had to make a fucking quest with a timer on it, so you only have 50 minutes tops to do something. Go and find your resources and then probably just finish off the quest just for the sake of the parts. But now you can just go wandering out to the camp and do what you want and get collecting. And you can even ad hoc just start a quest or a hunt. You can just go and attack the monsters that are there, and it'll trigger a quest, and it'll show you where they are. There's changing of time of day, there's changing of seasons, which changes the monsters that appear. There's this like whole ecosystem they've kind of built, and it dynamically changes. I really love the idea of this, and I think generally it's a good feature, even if it's just for resource gathering. But I think when you get to the back end of the game and you're just part hunting, it's somewhat redundant. But parking that for a moment, because we'll get to that. What did you think of this? And did Rise have anything like this, or was it sort of old school still?
Nah, Rise was very much like World, where it was just black screen, no intuition. Quite liked as well. They sort of made it again cinematic within the campaign, and one bit when you weren't hunting monsters, you are traversing from one section to another, and you'd have this little journey where you're just following, and they showed you the sort of route of how to get there and made it interesting. So I thought it worked really well. Didn't work that well when we did co-op that time, didn't we? When we just sort of went into the open world together and then tried to sort of go through, but it didn't like that for some reason.
Yeah, we couldn't switch environments because you can travel. I think between there's 4 of them that are linked and a couple that aren't. You have to go through a loading screen. But if you're on your own, you can just travel through, and you do go through a loading screen, just masked by this weird, like it's a corridor essentially. You go through, and it changes. But you as a character just run through like a small, like really skinny alleyway, and then it'll pop out and you'll be at the other end. So it's kind of seamless, but it fucking didn't dump the frame rate when it's loading all that in. So
really?
It was clearly struggling with that. But it doesn't work online. You can't do that. You have to stay in one map.
No, one map. But so that was a good inclusion. Like I say, the cinematic thing really sold it to me. And it did make it interesting that when you was ready just to fuck about and go and kill whatever, you could traverse and explore and fucking loot as much as you like.
Yeah, it was really handy for just finding odd resources like mining, whatever, metals or copper or whatever you need, because you haven't got to fucking find a fucking quest to spin up and go in and then deal with. You just wander out and find it, and then you're out there if you want to go and fish. There's side quests for fishing and angling on there, really useful. So I think it's a great addition. My only real criticism of it is I don't think they do enough with it. I think they've got a really interesting, like I said, time of day, seasons, weather events that take place. Certain monsters only appearing at certain times, and there's no real use case for it.
No,
like it's kind of there, but if you're hunting for gear, it's the least efficient way to do it. So why wouldn't you just go in the menu and spin up a quest that you can do freely, so you can still play it like old Monster Hunter? It's not that this is removed; it's still very quick. But then it just changes the world's time of day settings to suit that monster, and then you're there. So I'm not saying remove that, because I think people would do their nut if it was you had to go and find them in the world. But even I would like a quest line or a new type of quest that is to do with going out in the open world, and there's like multi-stage parts to it, traveling across environments. Like you do a kill a monster in the plains, then you got to go over the forest, and it's like a 3-stage whatever. But
that would be good. I wonder if they might. Now they've put the infrastructure there. I wonder if they'll save that for the inevitable DLC. That would make good use. But it definitely does seem a bit redundant now, doesn't it? So, like you say, certainly when you get to the latter stages and you are just fucking killing whatever you can, it gives you the most XP and whatnot.
Yeah, because even like they do weekly like bounties, which would be like kill 3 bird wyverns, kill 4 tempered monsters, etc. One week I was like, okay, I'm only going to kill the monsters that are on the maps, and I'm going to travel to them when they're there, because you can see the world map and you can see each map's kind of status and what monsters are on it, so you can always plan that. And that was kind of fun, having to chase around the environments. And I was like, okay, there's a bird wyvern just come into like the forest. I'm going to go travel there, take that down. Oh, there's 2 now back in the plains. You can start your own quest, freely as well. I'll tag a quest now for them both to start, and then I'll take them both out. That was quite fun. That was me simulating it, like making it. Because actually the quickest way to the event would be to go into the event, into your quest log, see an optional quest, or just look in the SOS flares that are fired and just spawn into one. But I like to kind of make my own story. I did it for a couple of weeks, and I was like, this is a fucking waste of time, really, because I could just do this. But I would like it to have forced me to do it in some way, while still retaining the option for people.
Yeah. How did you find that SOS this time round? Was it as responsive as much? I know they did have... You didn't have that in Worlds, where you had sort of NPCs, like computer control ones. They did have that in, not Rise, in Sunbreak.
Right.
They just started to add that, or so far, how far I am, you had 1 or 2, one at a time, sorry. You would have, an NPC come in.
Yeah.
And then, it gets replaced with a real human that comes in. But the trouble was, I never got anything because there was no one playing that bloody game. So
yeah, I liked, because obviously I come from World. If you fired an SOS flare and no one turned up, that tough shit. You didn't get an NPC bot to help you. Whereas I
believe the second you chuck that SOS as well, that increases the monster's health bar to accommodate before. So you get stuck with that. So you got to make, it's like a gamble.
There's times on World, I remember there was specific times I'd go on because I knew that it would catch like the Asian crossover.
That's it, that is what you want.
Because by the time I got to it was like quite late. It was like there wasn't a lot of people on it, so it was noticeably different. Like after like 10 o'clock in the morning, there'll be like no one on. There's like no one on until like the evening, until the Americans started waking up. I'm almost to like think, okay, now would be a good time to jump in. Whereas in Wilds, they kind of remove that botherance because it will spawn free bots, and then as and when people decide they want to join, they will replace the bots. I've had a pretty positive experience of it mostly. I maybe some of the story quests I didn't get anyone in for, but all the big ones, like the harder ones, always someone came in for, and generally didn't have any disconnections. In fact, there was a hunt the other day where people kept joining and leaving, and I was like, I think there was a problem there, but that's one of over 100 I've done, because I've got the trophy for like 100 multiplayer hunts and whatnot. So I had a pretty good experience. 9 times out of 10, I would fill at least a space, if not all 4. And on the flip side, using the SOS search functionality, it gives you like time sunk into the quest, how many people have joined. So if you want to just be a bit strategic and pick and think, I'll just cut off the first 2 phases of this one, jump in at the 8-minute mark. When I've jumped in at 8 minutes, got in, it's literally just killed the beast, and I've just taken the title and been like, you don't get as many parts, because obviously the ones they drop in the battles that you weren't there for don't come out, but you get the main fucking reward. So you can. I've found that really useful for just sort of, I would just need one more part, or I need one more certificate. Okay, bang, bang, bang. Right, there's 3 out of 4 there. They're 6 minutes in. By the time I've slowly made my way there,
that's it. They should have that.
But I had a good experience both ways, joining people and having people in. It's a bit like I enjoyed jumping into people's games. That's what I started to do at Helldivers for a while. Just joining random people's games.
Was great for XP as well.
Yeah.
Just once you've sort of finished the campaign and just on the leveling up state, just for double XP, get a double monster. Yeah. Get one that's about sort of like say 8 to 10 minutes in. You think I've done the hard work. I'll just come in and reap the rewards, and you get max XP. You're like, I
will say brilliant. I did have one. There's one quest, but it's actually in the new title update. It's like the new main quest they added for the title update. That's the only time I got like 2 or 3 sets of numpties that used all the feints. Right. Yeah, other than that, for the whole game, everyone was pretty. Yeah. I'm no great player, but I very rarely get killed because I'm a bit conservative. But some of these morons, there's long blades, Adkins, people from your crew.
You do get a lot of
We got to be in close. We can't guard.
I don't think I've ever had a failed mission on my own. I've had 2 feints and gone, God. Yeah. But I don't think I ever have. But I have had a mission where the third one does fail, and it was I think it was on that new update, because there is a big boy in there that is particularly hard. He is the toughest in the game so far. We've got another monster coming in the summer, it says. You can think, what's that, June, July maybe. Yeah, that sounds like that could be a bit of a beast. But pretty much most of them have all been, doable. Even you're getting these tempered fucks. I mean, they're obviously taking longer, but they're all still manageable.
Tempered fuck lurking. They're going to add.
That's the one. Yeah, arch tempered. I'll tell you, the only one I really struggle with is that fucking warlock that's fucking full of armor.
The Gravelos.
Get his name, Gravelos. That's it. That
is just got so much HP.
I get that my fucking what's it called as well? My longsword just ping, ting,
bouncing off.
Ting. Just fucking you need something with blast. You have to fucking get that bow gun out and fucking shotgun him.
Yes. Yeah.
But yeah, what did you think of the new? I know it's hard to differentiate them all, but some of Wilds exclusive monsters. So you had that spider with the rose.
Yeah,
that was an
yeah.
exclusive. That was cool. Then obviously, I'm pretty sure. That's the thing. I don't know which ones appeared. I only found out recently some of the characters are in fucking old games as well.
Yeah.
You've got the old fucking Titzilla. She's alright. She's been in it. Old Gemma. And then the old sea dog, the pirate-looking man. He with the long hair. He's like a returning character. But yeah, so I don't know
play
which
those ones.
Yeah, I think
because they mention in the story they're like Gemma, the old Titzilla as you called her, Jugosaurus Rex. She mentions that she was like, if you do like an optional dialogue quest, she talks about, I went off with another hunter and did this, that, and the other. And I was like, that's clearly referring to a game, and I don't remember it being in Worlds, so I'm assuming it was another title.
No, I'm sure it's like 2 or 3.
Okay.
I think they are. They don't know nothing like they do now, controversially, but
Yeah.
but yeah, some of the new, I think that Arkveld as well. I think he might be exclusive to that one. He's sort of like the
He's the one that people have seen on the trailers.
That's it. Yeah, he's like the face of Wilds, isn't he? Well, pretty much the main one. Or there's that big fucker. But yeah, some interesting things. Then you get the classics come back. Your Rathaloses.
Yep. I like there's 2 Rathalos normally on a map, and there's like a male and a female version, and then if you attack one of them, the other one will come along and join the fight. And you have to flick shit at them and try and separate them. Because some of the monsters have like packs or herds with them.
Yeah,
like some have smaller herds with them. But there's like a big. It's not a dog, but it's called a dog.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like a dog.
It's like an alpha of that rolls around with like 3 smaller size but still large monsters, and I was like, oh shit, I've got to take all these boys down.
Called a fucking I forgot about that Dogashuma. I think it's called something like that, isn't it?
I like the monsters. They're all. That's the thing about this game that's really incredible. Is all the monsters feel unique. They've all got their own move sets, and they all just the animations on them are like nothing like this in another game that size moves and looks feels like they're actually if you go on the ground
go back through the franchise, they haven't really changed much as well. So like the animations that people move are still the same. The monsters move the same way. And they've got different elements, so that's why you have to switch up different weapons to go for weaknesses and stuff. Yeah, they really have sort of gone into a decent stride. They've got a sort of a backbone a structure that they keep to, and then they just sort of take things here and there and add to it. But that core has always been the same and a winning formula.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we need to speak about the story somewhat.
Yes.
Because to me, this is the weakest part of the entire game.
It's a shame because of how cinematic I found it. Like, I was expecting... when sort of the reviews were coming out and they were saying that like this is the best campaign ever, the most approachable, plays the best in any of the franchise, and I was really expecting like a campaign that really sort of sucked me in and really I don't know, really was that sort of like fucking hell, this is brilliant playing as a campaign, but it never really clicked with me, to be honest. And I don't know if that was down to the characters or the story beats, I don't know, but it just never really hit the heights.
There's several things that I think are at play with the campaign.
Yeah.
The first one, I think just the premise of it, or the story that's told, just isn't very interesting.
No.
It's not very interesting at all. It's very, very like quite dull. And so even if you just wrote it down and went, here's a story, like a script of it, what do you think? You go, that's not up to snuff. So it's already struggling on the back foot there. I don't like... I don't like some of the narrative choice they make in terms of like... There's like a Jurassic World element to this to a certain extent. I didn't like that occurring.
No.
So there's some narrative things in there. I was like, what's going on with this lore now? What are we doing? It seems I'm not even a lore hound of Monster Hunter, but this felt out of place almost.
Yeah.
And then to top it off, really, like the structure and the way in which you go into a campaign mission is fine, but once you're in it, the formula of travel on your sacred, walk and talk with whoever, like your handler, or sometimes Gemma might come out of you, or that little kid that everyone despises.
I wanted him to get eaten so much.
There's got to be a mod out there somewhere.
Yeah.
Mate, but that whole process of like going out and listening to their waffle about, as I said, a story that I wasn't interested in at all. I was like, this is really just slowing the game down. This isn't like fucking God of War or Last of Us where you're walking and talking. That's part of the appeal of it is the story ticking on. They were just forcing you to walk slowly on the mount whilst they got the dialogue out. And I was like, this is all gobbledygook. Like it's just it's nonsense.
It was.
So honestly, at one point I was like, this is. I'm not going to stop playing, but if my brain was wired like a real human's, I'd have skipped these cutscenes.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. I think if
a normal human should be skipping through all this.
I think I did skip through some of the side quests, like dialogue. I read a little bit. I was like, I don't care really. But yeah, I did watch all cutscenes and read all thing on that. But yeah, I was just so disinterested, and just the characters as well. Like, I don't know why. I just didn't warm to any of them, really.
No, none of them are really of any.
Lass with the glasses. Yeah. Who's sort of like your companion.
Alma.
Yeah, the handler. Yeah, Alma, that's it. Yeah, Alma. And then you had the two, I couldn't tell them from the difference, the two blonde brothers and sister. They look like brother and sister. I forget what they were called now.
Not to mention all the tribes you meet and their fucking lieutenants and whatnot, and it's just like...
Yeah, it's just a strange preference. But no, that's definitely the work, like, the weakest part of this. And after hearing great things, and this is the most cinematic and real narrative driven, and then getting that, I was like, Christ, is that the benchmark now? Is it?
I mean, I'll be honest. I preferred what they did with World and Iceborne, and not just narratively, but just structurally, it just was better. I mean, I think what they've done here, they said, "Oh, we've now got these seamless environments, and you seamlessly travel from camp into the map. We better make sure of that. So you're not going to be fast traveling. You're going to be wandering. Oh, how do we fill the space? Oh, chatting, and." Whereas in the old ones, you'd spawn into the environment and it was time to go. I just didn't like it at all. Like, it's not overly long. I think I did it in 15, 20 hours?
Yeah, it's about 15. Yeah, it's about 15 hours, the actual campaign, before you get to the first ending, so to speak.
Yeah, there's an end credits once you deal with all this more cinematic stuff. And then it gets to like high rank. So this is how the game's kind of structured. So you get like the first part is basically campaign. It's not really structured like a typical Monster Hunter game.
No,
you do the missions. The missions are these sort of slow paced things, and the same thing keeps happening. You bump into a new monster and you have to fight it there and then. And I was like, no, I want to find the monster. Get a bit of intel on it, and it goes, right, now you've got to deal with this, go and prepare. So you go, okay, it's a water monster, I need to find some armor that's going to, you do that, then you do the story. This was like, it happens all as you wander into it the first time. And it's not really, it's not a good indicative of how the game's played normally, because you're just stuck in these missions. So you do that, and then there's like end credits, and it's like, okay, here's high rank mode, which plays, I think, is a bit more in the style of how you would play Monster Hunter, in that, yes, there are these like story beats, but they're more like checkpoints. So you increase your high rank, or your monster rank, sorry, and so you get to 25, it goes, okay, here's a little story mission, you go and do that, and then it's like, okay, go away, just play the game how you want, increase your monster rank, or your master, is it master rank? No, hunter rank.
Hunter rank,
35, however you want, and then it'll unlock the next story beat. I was like, that's much more of the flow that I would have preferred, whereas the first part of the game is like story. There's no restriction on you doing it. You just plod through it, and I suppose it kind of gets you through that part quickly. But I much preferred the second phase, and then once you're done the second phase, it's just a free for all. Do what you want, but you can do that. To be honest, at any stage. But I just didn't like the first part in particular. I found really annoying.
No, I agree. Yeah, wholeheartedly with you. And like say, after being told that was new to the franchise and the way forward. Very disappointing.
Yeah. So we're doing this after the first title update.
Yeah.
Title update 1. So they've added.
What did you think of title update 1 as a whole?
Well, I don't know what they're playing at. If I'm honest, I'm struggling to figure out what's gonna. This can't be it. Is what I keep thinking. Yeah. So what they've added is the Grand Hub, which feels much more like what I was playing in World, where it's like a hub world. And it's got the little Pelicos cooking you food, which was a big thing. That was one of
the biggest complaints online.
I will say this: 10 out of 10 best food in gaming. Yeah, like best looking food. Makes me fucking hungry every time I watch it. I'm like, I really want some naan bread now. Is Mim Spice open?
With cheese dripping off
it. They can't get that right, unfortunately.
They've got that incredible steak. Even like the bites and stuff, and like cutting the steak, the way it falls. Incredible.
So they've added the Grand Hub, and they've added like the canteen, like I said. They've added new quest types, which are like arena quests, and they're timed, and they're usually set with a specific gear loadout. So you can't choose your armor and weapons. You choose a predefined option of stuff.
They had that in Rise. Yeah. They had that in Rise. So they have added that. No, I don't think I did one, because you get that. There's that area that's essentially arena.
Yes, that's where they take place.
Yeah, is that where it takes place? Right, gotcha.
And that's got like a wall you can put up through. Yeah,
that's it. But there's no actual time limit on those missions, so that's got a time limit, is it? Yeah.
Well, I don't think it's got a time limit, but you're graded on how quickly you get through it. Right, so you get like an A rank if you do it in 4 minutes, and and you get better rewards if you get a higher rank. And I think for the ones that I've looked at, it's only for the ones that I've played. You can only have 2 people in it. And you can't SOS flare, so you have to just have someone join, or have someone from the lobby, if they see it whilst you're setting it up, join. So I think it's more encouraged for like pairs of people to go on. So maybe we should give them a go.
We should give it. Yeah, to be fair, I mean, it's one of those that I will crop back on and sort of plug away over a bit, but it does definitely overall does feel quite light of content.
Barrel bowling. Do you not want to play that?
Barrel bowl. I did have a go on barrel bowling. Yeah, not too bad.
Arm wrestling barrel. That's back.
I tried that. No fucker would get involved. I sat there for about an hour just going, "Hello, anyone?" And he can talk to you. I was like, "Come on, mate. Anyone? No, just me, is it?" Should be able to arm wrestle your fucking Pelico.
Yes.
Oh, come on, boy, help me out.
There's someone called the Diva that plays like a gig or like a musical performance there, and if you stand near it, you get like a stat boost for a few minutes that you can take out. I haven't seen it, but that is lurking. But I think like title update 1, if I was gonna, it's free, so it's not.
It's free.
Make that clear before people start going.
Mitsuzune as well. You got that fucking bubble dragon.
Yeah, you got a new monster, but then once you've done it once or got the fucking armor, it's move on jobby. I think it felt like to me that there was certain things they wanted to would have put in the base game, or maybe that's how they do it, they drip feed stuff, and it's just sort of getting the Grand Hub feels like here's a new place to like start quests from. You'll probably just stay there now rather than going to any other base camp, because it's got everything you need there. It's got all the arena quest stuff and whatnot. You can access everything you need. Feels like more of a foundational update to like for future they'll build out from this, but wasn't a great deal in there, if I'm honest. So as a big title update, I don't know what I was expecting, but I think they're still rolling stuff out. Yeah, slowly but surely. Like there's the Arc Tempered Ray Dow, which I haven't seen yet, and that's for Hunter rank 50 plus. That's one of the higher ones I've seen, but that's not appeared. So I think there will be opportunities to go in and get new equipment and things like that. But it's at a later date, and this is one of the things that I'm going to find frustrating is that I want to know when that's the case. But it's like, how am I going to? Unless I'm fucking going on their website every 2 days, I don't want to log in the game every day to check. Like, this is my problem with like these service type games: is how do you even keep up with it? What's the best method to understand when they're going to add this new monster where you think, all right, that's worth going back in for? So that's, I think, to be honest, I'm thinking my hour play, I think I'm on 70 something hours or something like that.
Okay, well, that's decent.
That's pretty good. I mean, what, you're a bit lower than me, like 50.
Yeah, I'm a bit lower. Just under 50 basically.
It's hard for me because I played World after Iceborne come out, so I had whatever that was. That was like 90 to 80.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think we're both over 100 hours on that. I think, aren't we? On our
it's saying 74 on this PS5.
75.
That's
you can
10
never
hours
trust
of me setting up a character, wasn't it? It took me a weekend.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
Oh, what do you think about that? The character creation. Once you've done it, you have to buy tickets to change their look. You get one free one.
That is a bit of a stinker, that one. Have you mucked about much with layered armour at all?
No, that's where you can have the stats but change the appearance almost.
Found that.
I don't like it. I don't like contextually it looking like that. I like to look like the monster, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, I will say actually, whilst we're on that, I think that I like the introduction of every armor set's got two different style versions.
Yes, yeah.
And you can mix and match them. I think they're meant for like male, female, but actually some of the stuff looks better. Like some of the helmets, for example, they're not feminine. They just look cooler. So you'd be like, that's
right.
You can mix and match those for your sets.
They do seem to have different like slots. Like one will have 2 decoration slots, whilst one will have like extra fucking what
skill
are those like?
Boost or something.
Yeah, skills. That's it. Yeah, so you get different skills added to it. So it really does. It does lend itself to like a role play. If you want to go for a certain build, it really does help to mix and match. So yeah, just going through and getting loads of fucking resources and just unlocking shit. I fucking wishlist so much stuff. So pretty much any monster comes up now, it's like, go kill him because you want parts for that. But it's useless basically.
Yeah, to be honest, I'm okay on the content side of things. I think. I don't want to be playing it forever.
To be fair, I'm quite glad. Yeah, I'm quite glad that it weren't 100-hour slog. To be honest, I mean, like I say, I'm about 45, and I've done everything I can. You know, I could carry on and
get more
armor
sets.
Get more armor sets. Get to rank 100. Not that it does anything, but just in case they start releasing monsters that are 100 plus.
Yeah, I think I'm 85 now.
Oh, are you? I think I'm about 70 something. But it was about the right, to be honest, I'd say, for a monster hunter, especially if we have got, like you said, there's going to be drops, so we're going to be sticking the old couple of hours in. Then inevitably there'll be a big update, probably next year sometime, and we'll get the DLC, which takes us to master rank, and then we end up chucking another 50 hours in there, and then it does become a 100, or certainly 100 plus, maybe even up to 200. Depending how much content they put there. But yeah, I'd say that like for everything, about 50 hours or whatnot, and you can get more out of that. That's good. Good. But no, people do seem to still moan because I think, the fucking the sickness, they fucking shove like 500 hours in, and
they've got every armor set. Well, I've probably got in high rank, I've probably got 4 out of 20 odd. So if I really if I wanted to set myself a task, it'd be like, okay, get some more armor sets. But I haven't done that, and I suppose I know that's an indictment of the game. I haven't been interested in doing that because I'm like, I don't need to. So I haven't. When I was doing because the game's obviously split into 2. You do like the campaign and the high rank stuff. At the beginning, low rank gear, I started to get every set before moving on. And then I eventually, I got like 3/4 of the way through, and I was like, "Fucking hell, this is what are we doing here? This is a waste of my time." What was good about that though is when it unlocks your hunter rank cap, because at certain points, because during that first phase, it doesn't. But what it does is it stores all your XP. So when it opens up the next one, it just goes. Goes up like 12 levels.
Has done that. I think that has done that since but
yeah,
that is nice, especially if you have been ploughing away at the thing. It's good to see that increase.
But
it was quite generous with the XP, I'd say as well. Yeah. Certainly in the latter stages of the game.
Yeah, I would agree with that. But I'm sort of thinking like, what's my exit strategy now?
Yeah,
because like I don't want to be. Maybe once a week even, I think I'll be like, I just want to play the big monster, the new monsters they put out. It's just finding a way to know that's happening, and then wait for the next big content drop. And I don't know if I'm gonna. I know a lot of people call it Fashion Hunter, and they spend their time just based on look to find like the best armor combinations. I think they could add things to the game. I've got a lot of things I think they could add to make it have some more longevity, but I'm kind of like happy to have spent the time I've spent and then check out for a while and come back to it. No game should last forever, despite those fucks always playing Rocket League every season. I don't know how they do it.
Yeah, that's true. I think there is one big notable missing feature of the game.
Comes the bombshell.
Now, this could be a copyright strike, and I don't know how well this is going to work. But will this play?
Oh, I know what you're going to do.
Is that picking up?
It didn't pick it up. Let me try mine.
Proof of a hero.
Yes.
Get it up on your... And that is, I mean, with, how many games are in the series now? And this is in every single game. So far, the trouble is that we've got this inevitable DLC that will come. It could be included in that.
It should be.
But
I'll pay for it. If at the end of the quest they played this. Fuck it.
Perfect.
How have they given up on that?
Unbelievable. And that is
self-storage territory.
As part of the game. Yeah, that is blasphemous. That is
so good. Because I used to sit there and just listen to that when all the shit would come on.
Yeah,
especially for this little bit where it like peaks back up.
That's so good.
That needs to be put back in as an option to change. Was it in Rise?
Was in Rise, yeah.
What?
In Rise. I know, even in that in Rise on that
default or as an option?
No, default as well.
Wow.
Title track. Dun, 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 dun. Really was. In some of the big battles as well. I think maybe in the end battle they chucked it in as well. I was like, right. A very big omission, but yeah. Any other business?
No, I mean I could rate a lot of things to improve. Like, there's like I always think it's weird that I don't know if they have done this before, but why are there no hybrid armors?
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? Like, there's like a armor of it's like a whatever a Rathalos and a fucking Gravios, and it creates like it's a set. But you need parts from two different monsters to combine it.
They've never done that.
Feels like that's been left on the table for some reason. More like non-linear quests where you're investigating, doing recon, finding the monster, or just making it feel like you're like tracking it and stuff is sort of missing.
Yeah.
And maybe you could leverage, like I said, bring in a new quest type that's based in the open world, and it's to do with that.
Well, you had
something there to be done, I think.
DLC, didn't you? Had like fucking themed characters. There was Geralt. There was like a Mega Man one.
I am hoping they do all this again, because that was...
Yeah.
Because I sort of steamrolled through that, because it was like just tens of more hours of content to go through. But it'd be nice to like for that to be a title update and have like a quest line to go through, etc. I'm hoping they will drop stuff like that if it's not crossovers, just other quests, other little bits and pieces.
Yeah.
Even the new monster they dropped, the old bubble one from Rise, it was kind of like, oh, it's here, you just go and hunt it. I was like, couldn't you not done like a little, I don't know, little tracking story or something, mate, flesh it out a little bit, but whatever. People, I don't think people want to play it for that, do they? They want to just go in.
No, that's
they want the efficient way of going in and getting the gear and getting out, and I get that.
Yeah.
So they have to cater to them. They can't be getting rid of that. My weird open world context requirements aren't going to be catered for, but... Yeah, there's a lot of things they could or couldn't do, and I guess we'll see as things go on. But exit strategy is going to be employed, and that's not necessarily negative. But all things have to come to an end, otherwise we don't play anything else. But anything from you? Any other business?
No, just like I say, that performance is still the biggest thing. Like it's just a shame that. That really did hinder my experience of it as well. It sort of did detract, especially with how good the game does look. Like how graphically enhanced it is compared to Rise.
Yeah.
And it was going back and like the worlds, how good the worlds and the sort of monsters roaming around, like some of the packs. Yeah. The like weather effects when it's like pissing down or you get lightning strikes, sandstorms.
Yeah. There's that monster that like creates like a quicksand like hole that you can fall down. There's all.
That's it. Yeah, I think that might have been a new monster, but incredible. But yeah, when you've got choppy frame rates that just like you're just constantly sort of huffing and puffing playing through, just going fuck's sake.
Yeah,
it is such a shame. So yeah, I mean, it's still not been patched, and like you say, we're months after the game's release now, so. Pull your fucking finger out, boys, because it's a problem.
They said it's no problem for us.
It's not stopping the. I was going to say, it's not stopping their sales, so they're thinking, fuck it, we'll sort that out later once you stop paying.
Yeah, maybe we'll sort out for the maybe that'll be included in the expansion, enhanced PC performance. 25 quid, please. Or more than that, wouldn't it? It'd be like 40 quid.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, probably
40. Will be. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think there is definitely on the PC side of things, people just consider that.
Right choice you made to go onto that console.
Not often I do that. Just because I've bought this PS5 Pro, it's more out of stubbornness. I was like, I'll just fucking use it. And it turned out in this case, it worked out pretty well.
Yes.
You must be like the lowest use case for that PS5 Pro now. Now you've got that rig, it's just superseded it in like 2 months.
I don't think I've turned it on since I bought it. That was in January. I think when I bought, when did we get them? November, did we?
Yeah.
Did we get them day dot?
Day dot.
We did get day dot, didn't we?
Most expensive console in the last 15, 20 years.
So I had a little phase of playing like some fucking just testing a load of games because I didn't have that bloody hard drive, disk drive. Sorry. And then since I've got the disk drive, I think Tekken's probably the only game I've actually played through to completion on it. And then, since January, that thing hasn't been switched on, the poor fucker.
Yeah.
Death Stranding might be the one to pull me out the bins, but...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was a purchase that's gone by the wayside. Oh, dear.
Can't be helped sometimes.
Bless it.
It'll be worth it one day. So, Monster Hunter Wilds on PC Steam.
Yeah.
What are we going to do with this? Is it going self-storage just for performance, or is it going to make its way into the gallery? Stumble its way in?
I feel like it should go outside in the fucking bins. But because I did enjoy what I played, regardless of the performance, a bit like how I was with... actually, I was more... I mean, if it wasn't for the performance of Jedi Survivor, that game would be very highly rated in the Atkins realm. Whereas this, there was still problems throughout the campaign, but the performance was dreadful. But like I said, I still did enjoy my time with it. So therefore, I am going to go into the gallery. It is going to just about squeeze its way in. and it's going to receive a bronze from me.
Crapped on it.
Crapped on the poor bastard. It just scrapes that. I mean, with performance, he might have pushed to a silver if it was flawless performance. Just because of the combat is brilliant, and the choice you got, the dual weapons, the open worldness of it, the graphics. The story let it down. The characters were boring.
Yeah.
And there was a few setbacks. So I feel like the sort of, silver range was probably where it should be, but it should be in the self-storage with that frame rate. I'm giving it a little bit of fucking Adkins love, and it's pulled itself a bronze.
Lovely,
Amazing.
jubbly.
What say you?
Yeah, it goes in the gallery for sure. It's sort of, I think.
He's gone for platinum.
No. Yeah, I think silver. I think purely just because the campaign just is actively bad in my opinion.
Yeah.
Like net negative, drain on the game.
Yeah.
So for me, I've enjoyed it enough that it would probably reach the gold standard, but I had to get through that fucking dross, and I can't get those hours back of trying to get through that to.
No, it's a shame.
But I'm looking forward to see. Am I looking forward to it's doing expansion if they go more story heavy? I don't know now. Now I'm a bit like, well, I'll play it for sure, but I don't want to get snarled up in garbage again. So to me it's a game that deserves a gold in certain aspects, but I'm going to punish it heavily for its one glaring flaw, in my opinion, and that's the old story campaign just not really being good and just dragging the experience down slightly.
Yeah.
So you got to be harsh with these fuckers sometimes, too lenient at times. So silver for me, bronze from Mr. Adkins for Monster Hunter Wilds on Steam and PS5 Pro respectively. Got a decision to make here. To continue with 6 more.
6 more of your thing. I mean, they are smaller titles.
Let's just rattle through it. I'll let you decide how you go through it.
Yeah,
So,
no,
Adkins, you explain what's been
to.
going on to the people at home, because to see this sit on my doorstep earlier on, I was like, bloody hell, what's he been up to?
Chucked out before a car crash this evening. So, I think it literally has been over this last weekend. I think all of those were done. When was the Switch 2 thing?
April 2nd, I think.
So,
or April 3rd.
Maybe, yeah.
A couple of weeks. Well, it was a
Let me
month
get
ago
my
from when people see this, but this is being recorded.
fucking emails out and I'll see what. I think it was only last weekend. I think. Anyway, what I done is I always get on these hype trains, choo just like young fucking Paper. He likes to get on these trains and get all hyped up. After the hype of the Switch 2, I got all hyped up.
Yeah.
And I sort of looked at my little old Switch OLED and I looked at it, I thought, fucking hell, that's like the old PS5 Pro. It ain't had no love whatsoever. I can't remember the last time I picked it up. No. So what I did is, because you texted me and told me that with a Switch Online expansion pass, you will receive the Breath of the Wild and things included. So I was like, oh, that's tickled me fancies. I'll tell you what, you get quite a bit with that expansion pass. You get
How
a
much
year.
is it these days?
Well, this is why it was on seed. It's 35 quid for the year. For a year. I managed to pick it up for 24 on CD keys.
I mean, that's actually at the price where it's a no-brainer.
Yeah, that's
when
it.
I get
So
this Switch 2, that's probably one of the first things I'll just activate.
Exactly.
Really
the one was you got the cloud saves. So if I am going to transfer any information over to that new Switch, I need it for that.
Yeah.
But 2, there's 3 DLC packs included. So you get the Mario Kart 8 booster pack course pass, the Animal Crossing Paradise Home Life, where you create fucking houses on a paradise on an island for other people, and see these. I haven't yet. No, it's just for Albert. Basically, it's just like more decorating. Basically, I haven't played Animal Crossing since lockdown. I don't think,
I've got
even though we
either.
shit the shit out of it. It'd be funny to go back to it.
All those
And then,
weeds, it'd be a fucking mess.
yeah, oh, bloody hell, yeah, forgot about that. Just fucking spiders running around. And then there's also the Splatoon 2 DLC, which is more campaign, to which I enjoyed. So that's a potential. But other than that, then you've also got the NSO, which is Nintendo Switch's online. It's their reevaluation of their virtual console. And
take that.
I've lost my thought. My wife's just come home. It's the
Virtual console.
Virtual console. So you've got it. So there's been loads of games added on there. So you've got the NES, the SNES, the Game Boy Advance, and the N64. They've got N64 and Mature 64 now. Went on the Mature 64. There's about 3 games on there. It's Turok 1 and 2.
Oh, right.
Some other shitter. I was expecting like Mortal Kombat 3, loads of horror games, but nothing.
Jugosaurus
like
Rex.
2 or 3 games, yeah. And yeah, I don't know where it came from, but I decided to start playing through every single Super Mario Bros. Game. So it's, well, actually, no, tell a lie. It started off with Mario Kart, playing through this booster course.
Yeah.
So I went through every single course, got first on every race, and 50cc, 100cc, 150cc, and then the reverse order. So went through those, and
how many tracks are there?
What is there? 4 to every cup, and then there's there 10 cups, so 40 is it? Yeah. And yeah, it's all like the same with Deluxe. It's all courses from different games and different things. They released a mobile game, I think, called Tour, was it?
Yeah.
Mario Kart Tour. So there's a lot on there from that as well. I was like, okay, I didn't know this. But yeah, so just went through those and played those to completion. And then from there, I think after that, I was like, right, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to go through these Marios. So I went through Super Mario Bros., Super Mario Bros. Lost Levels, which was 2 in Japan. Then 2, Mario Bros. 2, number 3. And then I also decided to finish because I'd started Wonder. And I'd done like the first world and chucked it. I went back to that and played that through. Luckily, it was quite relatively short, to be honest. But yeah, played through that and got all the wonder seeds you could get and cleared down each world.
Yeah.
They're typically very short, these games. I forget how quick they are, which is great because some of them are fucking mind-numbingly annoying. And I ain't got much patience for these platformers.
Without that rewind feature.
Exactly.
That might be the greatest feature in all of
incredible
games.
To play in Wonder, which was the last one I played, and not having
not having it,
that was killer. So pick the fucking bones out of that dirt before I threw it.
You go through in the order you done them. Do it that way.
So started off with
Booster
Mario Kart Booster Course Pass. So I've been wanting to pick this up. I think it's on CD Keys for about 15 quid just for the
on its own.
court pass itself, because they were like drip feeding that, weren't they, when it was released? It was like a course a week or whatever. And like, to be fair, I don't play a huge amount. Every now and again, the kids will want to play a bit, so jump on. But yeah, when you are playing the same sort of courses, it does get a bit boring and repetitive. And there is a few varied ones in here, like some new places that I've never played before, and some fun ones. Like they go through, I think each one has a different city in it as well. So it's like a London one, Paris one, stuff like that. But yeah, it's essentially, more Mario Kart, really, isn't it? It doesn't change anything. There's extra characters. There's about 5 or 6, I think.
Yeah.
A few new characters. Diddy Kong, Cranky Kong. Not Cranky Kong. One of the Kongs. Birdo, a caterpillar, that Pauline from Mario Odyssey. Basically, a couple of others. So you get a few of them, and then, like about 40 courses I got. And it took me about 5 hours, I think. I managed to clock up, go through, and like I say, went through, got the gold trophies on coming first, which isn't really that hard these days. It's quite an easy game, isn't it?
Yeah.
Went through, nothing Yeah, it's just
Is there
more
credits
Mario.
when you do all the courses? Because
There is. That's
there is.
what really did, and it's specific one. It's got its own one because if you go through on the actual original courses,
Yeah.
that gives you one.
I didn't even know that existed until I did it.
Credits.
I was like, is it just finishing first and all the different cups? Is it?
Yes.
Is that?
Yeah, all the cups. Yeah. So it's 10, I think, 10 cups. Yeah. So it's full. So now it's 80 courses you got.
Just do them at all
go
CC
through.
levels.
Yes,
Get
I
the
did.
credits.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
No. You can do it at just one. You can do it at one course to
Okay.
get one CC to get it. But yeah, I managed to do all of them, and yeah, that took me about 5 hours to go through them. Yeah.
Did you get
Just
stung
more
any? I
Mario.
remember when I was doing it on Deluxe, like back when the Switch first come out. A couple of times I got fucking tucked up on the last course of a cup, like finished like
there was
sixth.
one. I tell you
blew
what,
the title. I was absolutely raging.
weird. I found because they did change like the meta. Once I was in first, like you just get hounded
You're
with
fucked,
fucking
yeah,
blue shells galore. Like cool, but I found with this, if I got myself at this, like by some of them, I was like lapping the last bloke.
Oh, okay.
So,
Interesting.
sometimes, but when you get that far, you don't tend. You sort of go past the threshold and they don't attack
Leave you
you.
alone. Okay.
But certainly in the faster CCs, yeah, they fucking hound you with red. But I do like there are these little tactics I've picked up now that you've got. Like whenever you get a mushroom, you hold it behind you, so if anything hits it, it hits the mushroom.
Yeah.
You've got the drift button that gives you boost. Every time you go over a ramp, you do a flip that gives you boost. There's little things like that.
Pick
you
up the
pick
coins,
along
it
the
increases
way.
your top speed.
That's
There
it.
you go. I know what I'm talking about.
So yeah. But yeah, it's more. Yeah, unfortunately, it doesn't add anything else to the game.
Just courses. Horses for courses.
Just courses for courses, basically. So yeah, it's just more Mario Kart, which is great. But
That's
yeah,
all it is.
yeah, as it's included in the pass, it got played.
Yep. Well, it
Played
has to be decided whether it goes anywhere.
It has to go. I mean, it's Mario Kart. It's so far the
in the
definitive
bin, then.
edition until
World.
we get World.
Yeah, it is
could
World,
be
isn't it?
even better because we've got a little thing tomorrow, haven't we? Is that what you just said?
Yeah. No.
That's-
Oh no, it is. Yeah. By the time people, they're doing a direct,
yeah,
aren't they?
Yes, there's a direct. Sometime back when you already watched it by
They know
now.
better than us. Might have looked shit.
Yeah, but yeah, no, this is great. More Mario Kart. Mario Kart 8 was great. It gets a gold. I'll give it a solid 9 for the booster course. Worth. Well, I mean, it's not going to win people over. Like if you're meh on Mario Kart,
Yeah,
this ain't adding anything to pull you in. This is if you enjoy Mario Kart. This is more Mario Kart.
Yep.
But yeah, it's for 15 quid you're getting 5 characters and 40 different courses. You compare that to them fucking fighter passes where you get about 3 fighters.
God, yeah.
I'd say it's good value, and like I say, it was included in this £25 expansion pass.
Is that
Which-
include base Switch online?
Yes.
Well, that's insanely cheap.
Yeah, it's very weird, yeah. And I don't know why. My Switch is saying that it's running for 2 years. I don't know if that's a cock up at their end.
Wow.
So I was like, well, I'll take it.
Don't be querying it.
Yeah,
So,
and then we've got GameCube NSO coming as well.
Yeah.
Day
That's
and day.
not going to be any more, is it? It's going to be including expansion pass.
That's
yeah.
including the expansion pass.
Yeah.
Excellent. So I wonder if there's any other DLC. Or what I would have liked is that fucking DLC for Breath of the Wild, which also is not included in the Switch 2 version.
Nope.
Randomly. That's
They're fucking
dreadful.
playing it there, those dirty bastards.
I always wanted to give that master thing. But yeah, no. Booster pack, yeah. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, booster course pass,
Yep.
gold.
Well, I guess now we've got the Super Mario Brothers in the order they came out.
In the
'cause
order
know
they
how
came
your
out.
brain operates. So it'll be
Oh.
Bros, Lost Levels 2, 3, and then Wonder. So
Yeah.
have at it with Bros, the OG, where it all began.
The OGs, yeah. So I've never completed this ever, and I forgot how short it is. So what is it? It's like 8 worlds, and I think the first one's only 3 levels. So it's 3
they're not
levels
long
to
either.
each world, and they're not long at all. Yeah. It's so hard to sort of review a game this old. I mean, it's older than we are. Came out in 1984.
Shit,
And it
on
ain't
already.
changed much. I mean, you got. It's so weird going back to like you've literally got two buttons: jump and run. That is it.
That's all
Jump
you've
and
got.
run, and you just got to go. But like I say, what I did with this is I refused to use the rewind button until I got to one life, and then I was
Okay, right.
permadeath basically.
Yeah, yeah.
And then once I got to permadeath, I was like, well, I don't want to fuck it up and have to replay the whole thing again.
Yeah.
So that rewind button come out to play, and that is a fucking godsend. But yeah, one's probably the easiest, I'd say, just because it is so simple. You haven't got any sort of big dangers other than just misplaced jumps and stuff.
Yeah.
They don't really add anything really other than pipe. You got the box standard. It's pure nostalgia as well with the music. Well, I'd say it's probably the weakest of the musics, to be fair, out of the four. Once you start getting to the realms of 2 and 3 musically, you get the real cool soundtrack. But yeah, I mean, it is what it is. It's 2D side-scrolling platformers. Yeah, so it's so hard to sort of review it. It's not really got gripping story beats.
Better or
here.
worse story than Monster Hunter Wilds?
Better actually. And I didn't realise because after playing these games, I then also rewatch the Super Mario Brothers film.
Right, yeah.
And
I wondered why that had been watched. I was like,
yeah, there's so many little references in that I picked up from playing these games.
Right.
So, like, in the first game, every time you get to the castle of each world, the end castle, the little toad will come out and go, "Oh, the princess isn't in this castle." And then I noticed in the film they do that when they get to the castle, the thing goes, "Oh, she's not in this castle." I was like, so I never picked up on shit like that. Yeah, and it's just been quite. I don't know. I've just been on a bit of a sort of like history bump. I've been watching sort of the little documentaries about how fucking Miyamoto came up with him and how he was just like a little jump man from Donkey Kong, and then they released the arcade version and it fucking blew up, and they're like, cool, now you look at the global phenomenon. But I mean, as a game, you can see like back then in that limited fucking, I mean, it's mental when you look back and see the fucking memory they had to play with back then. It's like fucking your calculator's got more memory on it these days. And how simplistic that is, and it's still sort of engaging and fun to play. Just jump and move. That is all you've got. It is boiled down basics, and it's still enjoyable to get through and not too challenging. And yeah, it's just a big fat shot of nostalgia just playing these types of games. But normally when you get these fucking retro games, you play through them and you like get bored after 2 seconds. But yeah, I think like the first one, I think it took me about but I'd say an hour and a half tops.
Yeah,
I reckon this one. It's hard to find because I've done it all on this Nintendo Switch Online, and the Nintendo Switch only logs your hours for every 5 hours. So I'm somewhere between 10 and 15 hours for the whole entirety. So that's for all of the Super Mario Brothers bar Wonder.
Yeah.
So the 4 games I played, that's all under 15 hours. But yeah, an enjoyable hour and a half of side-scrolling platforms.
The granddaddy.
The granddaddy out. I mean, I'll put it in at gold. I mean, it's hard. It's a great game. I mean, you have to stick a bit of nostalgia in there, and the sort of legacy that comes with that game.
Yeah.
Maybe it could be a platinum. It could be the perfect game ever, but I don't know. I think it's just enjoyable, simplistic stuff, and
Go for it. Gold for Super Mario Bros. What about Lost Levels?
Level.
Did you play that before 2?
No, to be fair, I did fuck that up. I played 1, 2, and 3, and then realized. Okay. Then I realized everywhere I looked, I just started googling Super Mario Bros. main games, or like I didn't want to play it because there's so many fucking games with Mario in. I only wanted to play the core games, and every fucking list I saw had this Lost Levels as a main game, and I was like, oh, and everyone was saying like, oh, it's just a harder version of the first game. I was like, okay, so I thought, fuck it, I went back, and so let's pretend I played this second. I didn't. I played it fourth, but it essentially, it just slightly builds from Super Mario Brothers. You do now have the option to play as Luigi for the first time,
right?
So I'm pretty sure you can't play him as him in OG. Don't think you can, but anyway, this has this, and it also has added wind effects in this. So there are some levels that a fucking wind will come and blow you across the scene. But other than that, I don't think there's a lot more additional thing other than just sort of they've made it a bit harder. Some of the placements of some of the enemies that spawn, some of the jumps. There's a lot more hidden stuff as well. There was a couple of I had to use a guide. I had to look on YouTube how to do stuff. Certainly in some of those fortresses, you'll be like platforming, and there'll be sort of like a row of 3 blocks. If you have to go a certain way just to unlock the next part of the stage. I was like, how the fuck are people? This is pre-internet, this stuff. Hey, unless you're buying those fucking guide magazines, there must have been so many kids that bought this game and just got stuck on that bit. It was like, I don't know how to play it. Maybe people
Call
communicated
Nintendo hotline, didn't they? Used to have that.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I suppose they did, and people probably built a fucking community around that of explaining to each other how to do it. But Lost Levels doesn't really add too much other than additional difficulty. Basically, that is one where
it's something for the Adkins brain.
Yep,
it might help, but it also might hinder. Technically, the Lost Levels didn't appear in North America until 1993.
Did not.
But
so
that was after Super Mario World, which you haven't played yet.
I haven't played yet. No, so they released. Was it All Stars on the
That's
SNES?
it. It was in part of that. Yeah.
Part of that. That's it. Yeah, because it was. I think as I wrote on some documentary, it said they released that as 2 in Japan.
Yep.
But because it was so hard, they babied it and didn't send it to America. They went.
Yeah.
They knew that the Americans couldn't deal with hard games.
Yeah. Well, the story of Super Mario Brothers 2 is even more bizarre.
Oh, really?
We'll get to that.
I haven't got to that one. Again, I think it was probably doubled. I reckon I spent at least about 3 hours with Lost Levels just because of its increased difficulty. Not much more. It had 9 worlds. There are other worlds that I didn't manage to unlock. There's a certain way you have to do it to unlock. I think it's another 2 worlds. Might go back and try and do it, but it's something. It's said because it's said on there without warping. But I know there's like areas in some you can go like a top of a level and it go to a tunnel, and you can skip. Like a lot of speedrunners do that, and they skip about 4 worlds.
Cheating.
Yeah, it does. It is cheating. But I didn't do that in Lost Worlds and still only managed to get to World 9. So I don't know.
Right.
Call me a liar. But it went through it, like I say, 3 hours. I'll put this at silver just because it didn't really add. Literally, the only thing I think that was added was playing as a Luigi who did play slightly different. Not much, just had more of a sluggish jump.
Yeah.
And didn't run as fast. And that wind is basically the only thing that was added. So gets a silver for me.
Silver for Lost Levels. So Super Mario Bros. 2, this game was originally called Doki Doki Panic.
Oh.
And they just refitted it and chucked Mario skins over it and released it in the Western territories. Yeah, that's why it plays so differently to every other...
Right.
You would have noticed this having played them. It weren't designed as a Mario game to start with.
I didn't know that. That's interesting.
Yeah.
So this now you have the option of 4 characters.
Yeah.
Mario, Luigi,
Toad,
Peach, and Toad as well.
I think Toad's an option.
Toad, and they all play differently, I believe. I didn't unfortunately get to get. Oh, I haven't.
You can glide with Peach. I think it's got like a gliding thing.
there was a guide I see, and it sort of tells you that for every level there is a sort of recommended play. There's nothing on the screen that tells you that, but because I think there's different, not like a different ending, but you get like a reward thing at the end of the game for who you play with.
Yeah.
And I think there's a way of playing
There's a
equal
canon
amount.
ending.
A canon ending where you get the amount of involvement from each character, and each level is recommended to play with each character, so that could be potentially played as the canon run. But yeah, so this, I'm trying to remember, like you say, they all get meshed up now. The 2 didn't have a open, like it didn't have the world map, so you weren't going along.
Yeah.
Did have the star system,
Okay.
I think. Hold on, I'm going to get some YouTube footage up whilst I'm playing to remind me. So, if I remember, Mario Bros 2, this is the trouble when you play all 3 of them in a weekend.
Yeah.
Cool. So, there were so you had new different worlds, you had new enemies. Each one had a different boss at the end. That was something that wasn't.
Yep.
So you essentially had the same boss in OG and thing, Lost Levels. This had different bosses and different ways of defeating them. This is the one. Oh yeah, this is the one where you had. Was it like looked like a fucking bird's mouth that you had to kill the boss, and then he like dropped a key to get into the boss's mouth. Is that right? Yeah. I think that is it. And then you get a bonus chance at the end of each level that you get like a sort of like a what they bloody called like a slot machine that you can get the bonus rounds, bonus lives on it.
Yes.
That's it. And I tell you what, this game did have as well. It was quite a bit of verticality. So I mean. Whereas 1 and Lost Levels was just simply side-scrolling left to right, get to the map. This actually had a bit of verticality. And there was a lot of maps where you're just going up and into the clouds. Enemies, you had like them vines that you had to climb. Do you remember them? Them fucking weird little climbs. And then again, they typically, I think this is which they sort of carried on for the rest of the franchise, was the 8 worlds and 4 levels.
Yeah.
Oh, that was it. Yeah, because you had that. I assume it's that fucking character. Do you remember? It looks like Yoshi. It's like a little pink dinosaur that spits eggs at you. Yeah. You have to throw them back at him, and then he unlocks the key to get out. That's it.
Yeah, the bosses on this are like really quite good.
Yeah,
like,
they're all very
don't play like
different.
any of the other ones. It's like they just jump on their heads. Like there's mechanics and. They all have like a unique way of playing. And I was like really surprised going for it wasn't a Mario game to start with, so I guess that's probably why it's so different.
Yeah, you can't really see it. Yeah. And you had the different world, like there's quicksand in some of the sand levels. Different enemies that you've never seen in a Mario game before, which never really return.
No.
Some of them do, but you've got like cactuses and snakes and fucking flowers and God knows. But that's really interesting. That is because it definitely doesn't play like any of it.
No.
And then this is the one with and then you get to the end boss. So it's like 7 worlds, isn't it? This one, so 7 worlds, and then you get an end boss and no cannon. But you can play as any of these characters and shoot. Like I say, it adds new elements. Don't think it added any extra power-ups at this point. You did have the secret doors you could go in to get extra lives and stuff, but you still only had the invincibility, obviously the mushroom to boost up, and fire flower, which you've had since the OG. There was no Tanuki, nothing else. You had them little smiley faces that fucking chase you. Remember them fuckers? Yeah, they were a bastard. No Bowser in this game whatsoever.
No, not a feature.
He was cut from that.
From cut content.
Cut out of it. He went, no.
Oh, that
You get
GTA Legacy
Luigi and all
Edition.
that.
Cut content.
Princess Peach ain't doing fuck all. She ain't getting caught like a fucking idiot.
No. Called Toadstool in this one. Still back
Oh,
when it was
yeah.
being wheeled out as a name.
Christ. But there are a few little enemies here. You got the fucking Shy Guy crops up, the old Coopers or whatever they're called. Yeah. I mean, the bosses were very good because it was because it didn't play. I suppose it does stand out because it doesn't play as a Mario game.
Yeah.
So I suppose that's more of a credit than a hindrance. Certainly didn't have much of style. I don't really remember 2 from my childhood.
No.
No. But yeah. Again, probably around 2.5 hours, I reckon I spent on this. Again, not too fast. 7 worlds, 4 levels each. Yeah, all of these games, I think 3 notably was very short levels. Especially if you run through and manage to jump over half of it. It's so quick.
Yeah.
And then you get end boss, wallop, and then the closing cutscene, which is Crash Bang Wallop, which is a lovely image of Mario asleep. Probably was Doki. Has it got anything to do with that Doki Doki literature?
I hope not.
But yeah, that's it. I'm going to put 2 silver for me.
Silver for 2.
Silver for 2. It was interesting. That's really changed. I'd like to read up on it more to find out about it. But yeah, now that you've said that, it really doesn't play as simple, especially after the other 3.
Yeah,
and then we'll get to World and see what that produces.
Well,
but yeah, so that was 2.
Silver. Super Mario Bros. 3.
3. So now we start with the music. Let's start with the music of 3. It is. This is all 2D, 8-bit gizmos.
Yeah.
But yeah, this one just had a sort of. This is where the sort of charm come out, and the sort of the bashfulness of Mario. And this is basically the one that started. It hasn't really changed much from this, really. It just sort of graphically has got better. But so this starts off the first one with the world map that you see. Yeah. You get the levels that you have to go through, and like I say, it ditches the 8 world 4 things. This one now you've got 8. I think it is 7 or 8 worlds, but sometimes you've got sort of 9 or 10 levels in them, and then you've got fortresses which are added as well. So they're like sub-boss, essentially sub-bosses. And then you also have these little hidden areas where you get a Toad's house where you go to him and you have like a choice of 3 chests to open, and that will have a different power up that you can then stock. So if you get through to like a level and you're like down to small Mario, you've got nothing left.
Yeah.
You can pop one of your backed up power ups and start the level fully whacked.
Yep.
And then then there's like these little. It's like a spade card. They'll just chuck that on a random mission. And then you get a little game you can play. You can either match up the mushroom flower thing. Do you remember that?
Yes, yeah, it's the matching game, memory game.
That's it. Or the memory game with the flipping the cards. So you've got 20 cards and you have to. That's it. Yeah. So yeah, and again, so what is happening? Rather than having they've ditched the flagpole ending of each level, and they've replaced it with just a black screen and a spinner that you get you get a choice of your power up, and if you get 3 in a row, you get 5 lives, or you get 1 up. And this is the one that added different power ups. You got the Tanuki, you've got the boomerang, such and such, loads of them. I can't remember. You do only have the choice of Luigi and Mario in this one. I don't think you can be Peach and Toad.
No.
Can you?
I
in this
don't
one.
remember them being options.
No.
Not that I used them anyway.
The bosses aren't as varied as 2. You do
No.
only have, I believe his name's Morton, just the one. And he is a repeating boss that comes throughout the world. However, guess who makes his big return? It's Bowser.
I was going to say
He is there.
Mr. Eggman.
Mr.
Crossover.
Eggman. But yeah, so this definitely is the
Dr.
longest
Eggman.
by far. Dr. Eggman, that's him.
What's
This
his
is
other
by
name?
far Dr. Robotnik.
That's it, yeah.
Robotnik, that was him. Yeah. So was Sonic out by now? I suppose it was. When was 3? 3 was 1988. Can't remember when Sonic come out.
I think it may well have been lurking because they sort of re-released the Mega Drive with it.
Oh, of course.
But that was in 90s odd, so I don't know actually. Maybe the first Sonic.
Sonic. 91.
Oh, after
So
them.
no,
Fucked it.
after. Cool, 91. So another
That's
fucking...
bad. You put in
yeah.
Sonic, it just comes up with the movies now instead. I'm like,
Yeah,
God.
fucking hell. But yeah, I'll probably say this was my favourite
Yeah.
of the 3, to be fair, just because it sort of was the starting staple point of how the games then became. With these added power-ups, all the levels, the enemies that carried on. It is sort of the quintessential Mario. Well, I haven't played Worlds yet. I did play it as a kid a little bit, but I'll be interested to go through that and see. I have a vague memory of playing Land as well on the Game Boy, but that's going to be a tough play, playing on that little green screen.
Yeah, that won't be easy.
But yeah, it was the staple. Like I say, the world thing, and each of those 8 worlds, I remember they had their own theme.
Yeah.
So you had like an ice world, and that's where like some of the bricks would be slippery. That would be an added difficult.
God, that's a pain in the arse, that was.
That was a pain in the arse, that was, yeah. Then you had like desert land where you had the sinking sand again, water world, grassland, dark world. Musically fun, challenging, different power-ups, added stuff that weren't in a Mario game, so they sort of stuck with what they done with 2, but it's sort of this certainly did feel like a Mario game because it had every sort of staple part apart from the flagpoles. That's the only thing that got binned basically.
Chucked it.
But yeah, and the different bosses. But yeah, again, probably the longest I played of them. I reckon this one up to 4 hours, maybe 4 or 5. Nah, not as many as 5. I wouldn't say. I'd say probably 2, 4, 6, 8, maybe up to 5. Between no more than 5 anyway. Yeah. It is a great little game. Should be played by all Mario fans if you're a fan of that franchise. Had some of those secret areas as well, which are fucking hard without knowing what to do.
Oh, yeah.
It gets stuck on a few times. Enjoyed it. I'm going to carry on the franchise as long as I can. I'll give Mario 3 a gold.
Mario 3 a gold. And then the one that's out of place.
Sorry, yes. Yeah.
Super Mario Bros. Wonder.
Super Mario Bros. Wonder. So Wonder, it's the latest.
Spoil it for him.
Yeah, so let's just give some pretext. So I bought this game day when it come out, and my boy played it to completion, but he kept asking me to help him, and one of the times
he needs that rewind feature.
He needs that rewind feature. One of the times he asked me to help him was on the end boss, and I was like, right, what we playing at? So I essentially already in my head had completed this, but that brain says no, unless you play from start to finish and get the end credits, you haven't completed this game. So Adkins' brain thing, and this is probably, it's between 10 and 15. I don't know. I reckon that 10 only just ticked over. So at a guess, I reckon this is about 11 or 12 hours, I reckon. The biggest feature of this, like I say, it does play exactly the same as Mario 3. You've got your standard, you've got your world. Well, it's a big open map, basically.
Yeah.
And you have different areas, much like 3, where you've got like different zones. You've got like a fucking volcanic area, an ice area, a sky area, grass area. And the map's varying. But what the new feature is this Wonder Seed. So that's what you have to go through and collect. So each level has a hidden wonder seed, and then you get a wonder seed for completing the level.
Yeah.
And that hidden wonder seed is, like I say, hidden throughout the world. So the task is finding it, and then once you pop that seed, it then changes the world up, and until you find a seed. And some of the stuff it does is fucking fantastic. I mean, like say there's like a section where you're being chased by a boulder.
Yeah.
To get him through this like fucking maze or whatever and going through, you pop that wonder seed, you then become the boulder. It's shit like that. Or the world will go upside down, or the level will turn into a disco and you've got to jump on the beat. Random, crazy, colourful events that happen in this game. And that is the sort of the added feature, because like I say, they don't sort of innovate much on these games, these side-scrolling Mario games. They just sort of try and add to what the base is, basically. So you've got all the same sort of power-ups, all the same sort of enemies. Not many bosses really. There's a few bosses on each, like mini bosses, but then you're working your way to get to the top daddy, which is obviously Bowser. But yeah, the star of this one is this wonder seed and the things that happen.
Yeah.
Typical story that, you know, Peach gets kidnapped and the world's in disarray. You can play as Peach and thing, and they all play differently as like normal.
Yeah.
There are secret levels as well, which I did find. Like you have to complete a certain level a certain way to unlock another route throughout the open world. And like I say, again, just doesn't play too dissimilar from these 2Ds. I think that's the best thing about the 3D Marios. You don't really know what you're going to get and how they're going to play. But with these 2Ds, they're just different versions of the same game, but just, you know, updated graphics. This one's got like more sort of cartoony visuals and stuff. But like I say, the colour and the sort of charm of it, that sort of wonder seed of it, gives it sort of like an open palette where they can just go, fuck it, we're just going to go mad with this one, make it trippy and crazy as hell, but still stick to that core experience. It was quite interesting, but yeah, I enjoyed my time. It didn't outstay its welcome. 10 hours. I mean, you could probably polish this off in 10 hours if you weren't getting all of it. Probably do it less if you weren't going for 100% in. To be fair, I didn't 100% it. You got the seeds you collect. I collected all the seeds, but there's also these like purple coins you can collect, and you have to get the flagpoles. You have to reach the top of the flagpole for each thing. So many times I fucked that up and was like, well, I ain't going through the whole level just to get the fucking top of a flagpole.
Need that rewind feature.
No, exactly. You don't get that. They do. There is also like a perk thing that you get in this. You can unlock different perks that you have for each level. So like you can use your hat as a parachute in one, or there's one that's got like a wall jump, and so you can add these to any level, which is quite fun. So there'll be like certain levels that you'll need certain perks to be able to reach like hidden items and stuff. Yeah. But that was quite a fun feature that they added. I didn't really think there was in any of the other ones. And some interesting stuff. Then there's like an elephant that you can turn into Elephant Mario, and he sucks up water, and you can chuck water over people, and it's pretty devastating, to be fair. He's an absolute powerhouse, that fucking elephant. But yeah, it was really good, to be fair, and like I say, didn't outstay its welcome. Nice length, nice run, simple and easy. Runs at 60 as well, which that's the other thing. I was going to just wait for the Switch 2, but I thought I don't know what they could do.
No, to make it
if it runs at exactly, it looks nice, runs at a flawless 60. You know, there ain't really much of an upgrade they can do with this, so that's why I decided. I was sort of 3 hours deep already.
Yeah,
so I just finished it off with a simple 7 and got the work done.
Lovely jubbly. Where's Mario Brothers Wonder go to complete the?
I'll give Mario Brothers. I'll give it a solid silver. Very enjoyable.
Lovely. Well, That's a nice little
There you
recap.
go.
Managed to get those in, and
Might
I'm sure
have
there'll be
some
another
more.
fucking 12 next time.
Well,
we sit
I was
down.
going to say, yeah, well, I am tempted to play those fucking Metroids, especially that first one seems like a chore. I know you went through Super, didn't you? Did Super.
I did Super Metroid, yeah. First
Yeah.
one.
We've got the others on there as well, the fucking Game Boy fucks. That's Samus's Return or whatever's on there.
Yeah, that wasn't on there when I was playing through, actually, those
Ah.
ones.
So you got that, Zero Missions on there. The fucking
Yeah, that's the
Game Boy
remake
one.
of the first one, isn't it? Zero Mission.
That's it, yeah, that's it.
Probably worth
yeah.
just doing that one, to be honest.
Yeah. So I'm tempted to play them, and then, yeah, obviously I want to play through the Lands, World.
I recommend, I played Super Metroid. Like,
Yes.
that's just worth experiencing.
Yeah.
First one doesn't.
It's hard.
But I think Super Metroid's a good balance. But obviously, there's Adkins' brains that need to be satisfied with
Might have to be,
series.
yeah. Well, that's it. Yeah, I mean they're all relatively short, especially with that rewind feature.
Yeah.
And with guys, you can get
You say they're short, and if you don't know if you get lost.
You get lost. That is one thing about these fucking Metroid games. So yeah, so the potential in the next podcast, I might have 50 more of these, depending how long it plays. But yeah, whilst I've been chipping away at fucking Shadows, this has been a nice little palate cleanser, I'd say.
Yep.
So yeah, more to come.
Lovely. Right. That's a good segment. Bit of Monster Hunter, a bit of modern day stuff, and then some classic Mario to close it out. So people can't complain. Everyone covered.
No, everyone covered.
So that's that. That's crufts for everyone. Anyway, that'll do for this segment. And as usual, we'll see you on the other side. Right. Logan and Apps here. He's on time for once.
When you make the time, you're always on time.
Some took to talk about. What's that comment from? When you when you make the time, you're always on time.
I made it up.
Oh.
I mean, I might have pulled it out of the fucking filing cabinet somewhere. It might have been ready, but I don't know where from.
It's almost as good as my one. If what you don't know, what you don't know.
That is true.
People keep trying to get past that. So just admit it. You don't know it, so get on with it.
But people don't like ever admitting that they don't know what they don't know,
No.
which I find odd because it's just, let's just go in. If I don't know, I'll go, well, I don't. Like, there is no shame ever in knowing what you don't know, but trying to say that you know what you don't know makes you look like you don't know what you don't know. So you might as well just say you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah. Keep it simple for those sloppers. Right. What's this here? Mythwrecked.
Yes.
Ambrosia Island.
Yes.
I didn't play this. This is one of yours. In fact, all of this is yours other than one small item. I had no idea this game existed until you sent it to me, so I watched the trailer, sort of had a little look, and I was like, I think I know what's roughly going on here. But having gone through the process of actually playing it, and 1000G in it, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, so that's done. That's as much as you can get out of the game.
That ain't hard, by the way. So
No.
don't, that's nothing to be proud of. I think I've only ever 1,000, or I might have more, but I've definitely got 2 games of like fully achievemented.
Yeah.
And that's Rocket League and this.
Right.
So that's basically where we're at with it. Like, I don't go for 1,000 Gs generally because there's normally some bullshit in there. But generally, this was, if you complete the game, you'll get all the achievements.
You'll get it. And this was Xbox Game Pass jobby, I would assume.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
But so it's played on that Series X getting a run out finally.
It's made a comeback of late to try and make it feel like it wasn't a complete waste of money.
Yeah, I've just left it. Just given up on it. Just admitted that it ain't going to be servicing much for the next. Trying to think. Actually, I saw the other day that the PlayStation one has got Hogwarts on it, and I was like, haven't actually played that.
Good
So,
game.
Yeah. But I don't know if I can handle another fucking open world bloater, if that
It's
makes
not
sense.
too. Yeah, I get where you're at. It's not overly offensive, is what I would say.
Yeah.
Like there is some. There is some goose chasing, but it's
Yeah.
not too horrendous.
But you know
is
what I'll do
my
is I'll
review
try
would
and
be.
clear it all down. Did you
Yeah,
try
I
that? I can't
mean-
remember if you did you or did you walk away from
I think I did. I
think you
did
spent
to a
the-
point.
and then
I got to a point and went. The rest of this is just. But I always thought I might have over because I think I come off the back of a number of open world games,
yeah.
so I was a bit like exhausted by the time I got to the end of that. So I got to a point and I was like, oh, if I have the urge to come back, I will. But
Yeah.
it was very minor stuff, I think, if I remember rightly.
Wow. So I might have a look at that. We'll see. Definitely need a gap though, because I've just been hammering these fucking open worlds as of late. Or big,
They'll weigh you down.
big bloaters, really. I mean, you can trace this all the way back to Persona 3 Reload, and there's been a few palette cleanses in between, but Persona 3 Reload's expansion tutor that I played, Metaphor, which wasn't a quick one, Death Stranding Director's Cut, Silent Hill 2, which wasn't an open world game, but still was like 20 odd hours of survival horror, Ghost of Tsushima Director's Cut, GTA 5, Monster Hunter Wilds, which doesn't really end, so it's a lot to be getting on
It
with.
is.
It's too
Yeah,
much,
I mean,
too much really.
I probably wouldn't recommend Hogwarts immediately, which
No.
is where these palette cleansers come in. Oh,
Yes.
voice is gone.
He's lost it again. Back to Mythwrecked, Ambrosia Islands. What's the headline for this? Like in terms, you've played it, you've ran through it. If I said, look, we're going to write an article on this, but I need a headline to go off first of all. What would a high level statement be that sums up your thoughts on the game itself?
Relaxing ultimate palette cleanser.
Okay, so he's not letting go of this palette. How long is it then? Because that to me
It's
is
about, well, I mean, I think I was fucking about, but I think most people are doing it in 8 or 9. I think I was in there for
Okay.
10 and a bit. But some of that I think was pause time, to be honest. So yeah,
Okay.
it's a really, 2 sitting, I think, jobby realistically. Couple of hours, maybe 3 sittings, a couple of hours, and you'll be done. But you do get to a point with it where you just want to see it through anyway. So I'd be surprised if anyone sort of does a number of smaller sittings. The loop in it really does pull you along, if that makes sense.
yeah. When I saw the trailer, all I saw was running around on an island, I would assume, collecting memories or artifacts and things like that, chatting to people. I saw some interaction going on.
Yeah.
It seemed like there were gods, or I don't know if they were Greek gods necessarily. But,
Yes.
Okay. And
So the premise of the game, unless you
Yeah.
want to do the store page first, I don't know whether we're doing that or not, but we don't have to.
where is it? Let
I
me
don't know what
find
you-
it, because we might as well whilst we're here.
You might glean the backstory off of that, because I think that would probably do a better job of explaining it, perhaps,
The
than
helpful if this fucking Xbox app wasn't so horrendous.
all of it is dreadful from a technology company. I don't understand how they make such a big deal of it.
Oh, you piece of shit. I mean, that is bad.
I mean, I've got it up here,
I've got
but
it
it's
here,
very
but
short.
It's really not. Now it's telling me Ubisoft Connect is out of date. What's that loading up for? What's going on? What are they doing, these fucking companies? Right. It is very short. Right, here we go. Let's just do it. The gods are real. They've just been on vacation. You're Alex, a rookie backpacker. Taking a much-needed break from modern life, your trip is interrupted when you are suddenly shipwrecked on Ambrosia Island, a beautiful, long-forgotten place of myth and sunshine. It's home to the gods of Greek mythology. They're real after all, even if they are having an identity crisis. Can you find the secrets of Ambrosia Island in this sun-drenched friend-em-up adventure?
I don't know what they mean by that.
Yeah.
But,
Well, you're making friends of these Burks, aren't you? So here's the thing about this. Immediately off the bat, I'm concerned about is that you're running around the island talking to these Greek gods. Have they, in their attempt to be, in their own hubris, their own arrogance here, have they decided to make them look like modern,
Yes, this is exactly
hipster style fucking gods that you'll see Zeus and think, nah, it looks. Do you know what I mean? They're bastardizing them just to in the sake of modernising it.
I mean, look, I'm not going to lie to you. There's an element of, and I don't like to use this word too much, but wokery.
Cool, I have to bleep that out one day. 5 years away from being a bleep job.
It's not far. That's what I kind of felt like. Each of the gods has got a little artistic play, and it felt very, I don't know, like other than Hermes, which is quite recognisable, the others you wouldn't particularly know, if that makes sense. Like Zeus doesn't look like Zeus, Ares doesn't look like Ares, Poseidon looks like a blue surfer dude. Like
that's the one I saw, and I was like, what's going on here? That can't be one of the gods. And I was thinking, hang on, there's a load of them standing there.
Yeah. So they've made different personas. Like you've got Zeus and Hera, which are like party animals. Ares is like a grumpy, like aggy teenager that's grown up. Like they've all got different personas. And you've got one of the gods in a wheelchair.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Yeah, this is what I mean. It's like a bit like, it's a bit odd. I'm like, why? Like, he's a god. Like, when has a Greek god, ever been in a wheelchair? Like, and I just took it for what it is. Like, it didn't bother me, but it was just a bit like, okay, why are we doing this then? Like, we've got, this is well established, but it's just a different kind of take on it, I guess. But each of them has got a persona that is, they're called a Greek god, and they fit within that Greek mythology, but they've kind of been updated to 2024. So yeah, that is a thing. So you have to contend with that. But yeah, that kind of is a very high level explanation. Like what they've got in the store there is a very high explanation. But basically, you're kind of this teen young lady called Alex, and she's just sort of randomly decided to go out on a boat trip and backpack.
She's just human. She's not any.
Yeah, she's
at least
just
as far as you know at the
standard
start, just this bog standard, gone on the backpack, and it's gone wrong. Well, maybe it hasn't gone wrong. And then, maybe it's just great for her.
Yeah, and then there's a storm, and she gets washed up on the island. Like that, there's about a
what
minute. What
happened to the rest of her crew? Dead.
It was her on this rickety old boat with a captain that was steering it. That was it.
What about the old boy?
Yeah, it's like, this is what I mean. You just don't see him until just don't see him.
Wow.
So you just land up on the beach of this island, and then off you go. So that's where. I mean, look, he's inconsequential. Don't worry about him.
Well, I'm worried about him now.
But yeah, you just land up, and then you sort of just start walking inward, and then you meet a statue called Aura, which is like obviously the Oracle. And then she tells you to go and basically start. She's going to speak to old Hermes or someone or something like that down by the docks, and then that's what kind of kicks you off on this journey. And then you start talking to the first god, and he's just completely unaware of who he is or what he's there for. And that just kicks you off on this journey to kind of figure out what's gone on the island, why no one remembers what they're doing, and what's going on there. But part of that is obviously gaining all their trust so that they will talk to you a bit more. And then to gain their trust, you have to go off and do certain things, collect certain things, find their memories, that you then bring items that are relevant to them that jog their memory as to what they're doing there and what happened.
Yeah.
And then you obviously have to go through each of the individual gods, basically doing that kind of loop until you kind of join the puzzle together.
Right.
Essentially.
I assume that you can't blow it. Like you can't, like when you're chatting to them, pick the wrong dialogue option, or even maybe there's not even consequential dialogue options. Maybe it's just you just go through the list and they're all this. You can't rattle them. Essentially, you're just gonna go through it. There's no stakes involved for that. You just.
I was hoping there would be.
Right.
So when I looked at this, I thought, okay, you got to talk to them and
figure out,
build a relationship and figure them out. I was like, okay, well, there'll be an element of kind of right or wrong and understanding them and saying certain things, dialogue options. And I'll be honest, there isn't any of that. Like, it's just a case of standard interaction. You select the options and it goes through the motions, jobby, which is, when you start off it, you kind of realize that you shouldn't go into this sort of game with that sort of expectation around detail. Like, you quite soon figure out that it's you take it for what it is, if that makes sense. Like, you won't come across this and go core AAA expectations. Like, you'll go, this is what it is. So I wouldn't say initially it bothered me. It was a little bit like, oh, okay, that's disappointing. I was hoping for a bit more. But yeah, generally it's generally the interactions are quite, it's more you understanding them, I would say, and them giving you their perspective and on things and talking to you about their relationships, as opposed to an actual kind of back and forth interaction. But yeah, basically the idea is for each of these that you level up your friendship with them to the max, and then you can get some little perks off them and move on to the next one. And the idea is that you clear all that down, and then it kind of moves towards the ending, and everyone remembers who they are and kind of what's going on. So
the mystery is solved.
Yeah, but it's kind of like a puzzle, mystery, open world, relaxing exploration jobby is how I describe it. Like, there's nothing that's going to kill you. There's nothing that's going to threaten you. You've just got to figure out where stuff is and wander around the map and collect, basically. And there's a few puzzles. Like, there's some things where you need to get to a certain island. Like, there's little islands off the island.
Right, yeah.
You need a certain ability, if you like, or perk to be able to go and do that. And you're like, okay, well, which one of the gods gives me this? Then you think, okay, I'll have to come back to that later, and I'll go to this area.
So you can tackle them sort of in any order, technically, but you have the freedom to at least try.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then you'll go, I can't progress any further because I need this.
Yeah.
Okay, so you'll soon figure out
I need to max this out before it will give me, like, and then I'll go back to Aura and she's like, oh, go here and see that person, sort of thing. So Aura's kind of the one you go to if you're struggling a little bit, and it's not, you'll soon find the loop of what you have to do. And you'll eventually be doing a couple of things, like going looking for things for a couple of gods at once. It's not like you're doing them all individually. You kind of have 2 or 3 on the go at once where you're looking for things. And so all of the memories that you find, you'll pick them up, like, it shows them and on the map, and you can go and get them. Like, it's not hard to do, but then you have to figure out whose memory is for who, like whose item relates to who. So that's when the whole persona thing comes back in, like you understanding whose memory might be who, because you'll give it to them and they'll go, oh no, that's not mine.
Right.
Try something else. So you just have to figure out whose memories are what, and there's a little bit of goose chase involved.
You can't blow that though either. You just have to, even if you for some reason didn't have any idea, you could just try different combinations till you get there and be like, oh, okay.
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, I got to that in the end. Like the idea is you go to Aura and she'll give her a clue who the memory's for. But in the end, I was like, why would I go to see the god, then go, no, it's not mine. Go back to Aura, then go back to the like. It just seemed like a pointless addition. Like Aura, to be fair, throughout it was just useless. Like, you think that she's going to be something that helps you throughout, and she does offer nothing. She's basically a pointless individual. But you progress through it. You know, there's some nice little. It's nice to see the gods remembering who they are and why they forgot their memory, because the whole thing is like, why has everyone forgot their memory? And they all had a little different perspective to that, and why they've sort of fallen out and all this sort of stuff. So you get to, I would say, you're just discovering the story and exploring it. You're a part in it, but you're not affecting the outcome in any way.
No. Is any of this voice acted, or is it all text and mumbling?
It's text and mumbling, which is slightly disappointing.
Yeah, but that's where I guess the budgets come in, don't they? Yeah.
Oh, it's all a bit like that, and I was like, that's so. Yeah, there's a lot of reading basically, and this is what I mean. You soon kind of realise the budget of this is limited. I mean, it's okay; it works for the style of the game, but if you're trying to build up like a narrative and trying to build up some sort of understanding of the character, like not having any voice acting is a little bit of a negative. But as I say, you soon kind of just get used to it and you just read all the stuff. And there's some of them you'll think, I don't even care that much about this one. I just want to get through it. So you just mash in A. It's a little, they're not all that interesting, put it that way.
No, I mean, that's to be expected, I guess, in some ways. But
so yeah, it's it's got a very distinctive sort of, I don't know, it's like the art styles. How do you word it? It's like drawn.
Yeah.
It looks. I don't. Do you know what I mean? It looks like someone's drawn a picture.
Yeah.
And sort of shaded it in. It's a very, very bright game. It's sort of from above. I don't know how you describe the camera, but it's kind of the only way I can describe it. It's kind of a fixed camera, a semi-fixed camera,
sort of like an isometric angle. Is it sort of not top down, not down here, but 45 degrees maybe?
Yeah,
is that right degrees or not?
Yeah, I don't really know how to describe it. You're kind of
90s up in it.
Yeah, I'd say you're at it's kind of fixed within the mini. So everything's broken up into like these areas, right?
Yeah.
And this is probably my biggest criticism of the game is that there is a short loading between each area. So you'll be in one main area and you'll go through like what is an open doorway, and the camera will shift up and it will be loading for like 3 seconds, 3 seconds, and it will go into the next one. And I'm like, that doesn't feel right in this day and age where it's not seamless. Like, why are we doing that? So yeah, there's a bit of that which gets irritating when you're wandering around the island. And like by the end, in the middle of the map, there's basically a load of different portals. So when you open a new area, you can go to the area and basically open the portal, which basically makes fast travel. So you can eventually just run.
Fast traveling.
Run, honestly.
Well, actually, it's contextualized, isn't it? The portal, so
it's contextualized through the portal. It's permitted. Yeah, but you won't want to not do it at the end of it. Like, there's a lot of goose chasing around at the end, and you have to use that because it just becomes a painful experience of having to go between loading screen and loading screen. But yeah, I would say in general, it's interesting for the first 5 minutes. I mean, I'm just looking on here on how long to beat, and I have, by the looks of it, been faffing for a bit too long. In 6 or 7 hours, it says here.
Saying completion is 7 hours, all styles 7.
Yeah. So I was a little bit longer than that, a little bit more faffing going on. But the first 3 quarters is kind of okay. I would say the back quarter, the loop is the same. Yeah. Like the thing with this game is it doesn't change the loop, and the loop doesn't get any different. So literally throughout the whole game, you're building up to kind of like a crescendo.
Yes.
And you kind of expect that it will change up, and it just doesn't, and that feels a little bit tiring. You sort of go, oh, I kind of wanted a bit more by the last quarter, and some sort of different change of pace, and that never happens. And I would also say the ending isn't anything that it was disappointing. I would say ultimately
for all the goose chasing he was put through, he weren't happy with it.
All the goose chasing and the way it kind of lands up, it's just a bit of a anticlimax for me. But for what I want from a palette cleanser, like overall, like just something relaxing, low stakes, bit of puzzle, playing through and figuring out the story, it ticked the box, and it was on Game Pass. I didn't pay anything for it.
He's front loaded the payment.
Yeah, that's the trouble. So yeah,
lost out on interest.
There's not an awful lot else to say about it. I mean, it's quite relaxing. You sort of learn some of the characters. You go through it.
Yeah.
You listen to the story, you go, okay, that was fine, and you move on. The one thing I'd be intrigued to see if they do kind of a follow up in some form.
Yes.
So I would like to play something like this with a kind of more expanded world, options, narrative system in it, because there's just a lot in this that felt pointless. Like you go to the island and you have this like home base, and as you go through it, you're kind of collecting things to make where you're sort of staying more homely. And I thought originally the idea is you go back there to save it or to sleep, because there's a day-night cycle in this, unbelievably.
Okay, is that needed, or is it just for?
Well, no,
aesthetics?
ultimately no.
Right.
But the idea is some characters are available at certain times.
Oh, okay. I'm right. Well,
so, but there's loads of benches and things that you can sleep on around the map. So you're like, well, why would I do that?
well,
And there's also these little yellow fruits. I've forgotten what they're called. Probably ambrosia fruit, no, my luck. But there's these little yellow fruits that you use as currency with the gods to buy things, right?
Right.
And once you pick them off the bushes that are around the island, they replenish every day. So you would do a day-night cycle, and then when you go through another area, you can get more of these little fruits to offer to the gods to pay for the things that you need. But yeah, I was expecting to go back to this kind of like house that I had and sort of sleep there when I needed to, and then go. But it was just unnecessary.
Yeah.
It's just a completely weird. And you're going around the island and finding these sort of little crates and getting things that will make it more homely, but you never have to go there.
No.
It was just there was things like that where they've kind of made things in there that with no incentive to also go there. It's just a bit. Some of it just feels unnecessary, if that makes sense. So I'd like it to be a bit more of a reason to go there, like an incentive to collect things for the house. Like, if I got things in the house, like, does it give me extra stamina, or what does it give me other than a tick in the box? So yeah, a lot of things felt a bit shallow in the game, but the art style's good. It runs well. It's a good ambiance. It is relaxing. It ticks the box. But by like the last third of it or the last quarter, you're just
Sick
a bit. Yeah, you just like, I want to just get the story done now.
Yeah, that's fair enough. That happens a lot when there's. You just think, well, could you have wrapped this up earlier? You didn't have the interesting gameplay or no twists happening, so you just rely on.
It's only 6 hours, mate.
Yeah.
Right? So it's like, what? So you got to wrap it up in 4 hours? It's like, well, then what have you got to offer him? Like, it's a tricky one. I think the answer would be that there's something else different that they introduce in that last third. I think if they introduce something different, but like you find yourself, as an example, in that last third, you're having to buy, rather than find the memories, you're having to buy the memories for these fruits. So
right. Got to go and collect
you
all
have
that
to
crap.
You have to go and collect all the crap, but there is one of the gods basically gives you a farm. So with the ambrosia fruit, you can buy farmland to grow more ambrosia fruit.
Yes.
So I just found myself buying all the farmland and then just sleeping for like 3 days, collecting all the fruit, sleeping for free. Do you know what I mean? It's just kind of like, you've given me a way to do it.
Yeah.
You've given me a pointless way. You haven't given me any reason to grind. You've just given me an answer straight away. It's like, well, why bother? Yeah, it's just there's some weird things in there where you kind of like, you've blocked it with the fruit, but you've given me a really easy way of getting the fruit. Okay, well, why even bother hiding these memories behind the fruit that I have to give? There's just some really strange inconsistencies in it that I didn't like, but it's 6 or 7 hours. What are we? I can't, and it's a low budget game, evidently. So, yeah, there's just a few things do another. They are on a little bit to make it a bit more interesting and add a bit more depth and interest later on in the story arc.
Yeah, I mean, that's sometimes the way these games break. They start off, you're content or pleased, and then you hope that it's going to have another wrinkle added, and it doesn't come to fruition. And then
it's like Spiritfarer.
Well, that's 30 hours though. That's the extreme end.
That was, yeah.
This is actually a better outcome. At least it didn't fucking double the length. And
If this was another 5 hours, I may have stopped.
yeah,
Like if I had to
Yeah.
do that loop for another 2 or 3 characters, I'd have been really begrudging it, I think.
yeah, no, I understand. Did it have any technical issues or anything, or was it pretty bug free? Ran okay. No concerns on that side of things that if people were like,
No, it was like performance wise, it was fine. I don't know what it was running at frame rate wise, but at least 60. Like it felt
right, doesn't really.
It felt smooth. It didn't feel like jolty 30 crap or anything like that, or inconsistent frame rate. And I'd expect that. Like it's such a basic. It shouldn't even be. I did it on the console, and it shouldn't be testing that at all, and it didn't, fortunately. So yeah, it's a nice little ambient game, but just a bit. It just gets a bit shallow, I think. Like you realise the lack of depth to it.
Yeah,
By the end part,
becomes apparent. Any other business for Mythwrecked, Ambrosia Island?
I don't think so. I'm just sort of going through any of the notes I made. I would just say, like, off the back of what you're doing with a lot of AAA games, like something like this does break up that quite well, which I quite liked. So I did definitely have that different sort of vibe to it. As I say, the day-night cycle was a surprise. I didn't expect that in here, so it's a good thing. But again, I don't know why they felt the need to particularly add it.
No.
It's satisfying ticking off all of the requirements. Like there is definitely an element of like once you complete a character, there is a satisfying element to that. But yeah, I don't think there's much else to say other than nice, easy bit of time spent playing something, playing through a story, and being glad when it's done.
Soured on it just slightly of the last sentence, but where does it go in terms of gallery? Are we opening the doors up for it, or is it going in that self-storage outside in the car park to join things like Shadow Warrior and Suicide Squad?
Yeah, I'm happy to bung it in there. I think it would be harsh not to be honest.
We've got Spyro making it in after the annoyances that had for you.
Yeah, but Spyro was just, or at least to start off with, just the age of the game had. Like, they hadn't done anything. It was just, I was just getting frustrated at how aged it felt. But that's probably not fair to ding it too hard for that.
Well, releasing it and charging money for it, so
yeah, true.
if you're going to put it out there, you get the smoke. As far as I'm concerned, fix it, sort it out, make it cleaner. Anyway, derailed it. Platinum, gold, silver, bronze are the options. This will only be your second entry this year.
Yeah, I mean
and we're in
slim pickings.
We're in the month of May when this publishes, so people are querying this.
What's the other thing I put in? Was it Spyro?
Yeah,
that's real poor, isn't it?
Must have been. I don't know. Well, maybe we'll get to the bottom of this because there's a few other like ongoing games that we've got a little time booked for, so this may shed some light on it. Rocket League's always interfering, regardless. People have to remember that.
It's just not, to be honest, there's just not been a lot that I've been that fussed about playing.
Like a bad habit.
Yeah, that is still installed. I'm just
that's nearly a year ago.
I've gone back to it since, and now I'm like, it's one of those where because I've gone back to it, I'm like, I can't really remember where I was. I'm like, should I start it again? Yeah, and I'm like,
got to keep on it.
Beat Cop's still there, as is Coffee Espresso Tycoon. So they're still there. Don't be worrying about that. So yeah, Mythwrecked Ambrosia Island. Yeah.
I've been buying small coffees for this long black, as it's called, at Black Sheep Coffee, which is basically an Americano, but I think they put it in a different order. I can't remember what they do. It's a black.
He reckons there's an extra shot in there.
Right, maybe it's that then. So I've been getting this smaller one on the understanding that the amount of coffee that goes in won't be any different. It'll just be the hot water that you're paying for to make it medium, large, or small. Is that your understanding too, or am I swindling out potential caffeine? I mean, that stuff's strong enough as it is, but it does feel like it tastes a bit stronger because it's less diluted, I guess is the way to put it.
I think so. I don't think you get.
I feel like asking
one
them,
shot.
but I don't think they'll understand what
Yeah.
I'm trying to get at.
How many shots do you put in a large versus how many is in regular? I
Is it
think
just
is
the
the
same?
question. I
It's just the
What
hot
I feel
water.
like, if you're getting me a large, I should have an extra shot in there.
I agree.
But I'm
know
not
if they do.
convinced it is.
No,
Because whenever I go to like Starbucks or Costa,
just to watch them.
it just feels like there's more. It doesn't feel like
feels more liquid.
yeah, it feels more liquid. So I don't actually know for sure the answer. You would expect there to be an additional shot, but then the price differential doesn't indicate you're putting more coffee in there, right? It's like 30p or something extra or 40p.
So it's just hot water and a larger cup.
That's what makes me doubt it. Yeah, exactly.
They still keep putting the lids of those coffees on, not where they say. Black Sheep have we've gone for this before, but it's got a little arrow saying whatever the crease in the cup needs to be the opposite end of the drinky hole. And I've had it where they've put the creased end on the drinky hole, and I've had to manually intervene before I've taken a sip. And many other places don't do this either. I don't know why it's not all widespread and why people aren't getting the message.
I wonder whether some of the baristas just don't know. Like,
That's why they put it on the lid, surely. So when they look at it, they go, "Oh yeah," which. I mean, I wouldn't have known had I not seen that, to be honest. I kept fucking spilling coffee down my shirt for 4 or 5 years. I had no idea what was going on. I assumed it was the way I was drinking it. As soon as I discovered this little trick, not one... I'll tell you what is the worst now, those McDonald's fucking lids they've changed to, those papery ones.
I haven't had one from McDonald's for ages.
Mate. I get they want to save the earth, but it's not saving my patience because that's becoming a problem now.
It just gets wet, I assume, if it's like cardboard or something.
You take too long, it's just fucking
just disintegrates.
You're like, oh, for goodness sake.
So one good thing Donald did when he come back, he went, I'm sick of these fucking
paper straws.
Paper straws. We're having plastic ones again.
Yeah.
I was like, well, the turtles won't like it, but everyone else will. No. That is the trade-off.
They should come more inland.
So... Yeah. Right, we should probably get this in. It goes in bronze. It can't go any higher. And to a certain extent, it's lucky it gets in there. But it was, for the most part, it ticked all the boxes I needed it to.
Yeah.
But it is slightly shallow and you do kind of want a bit more from it. But that might also be slightly unfair.
Yeah.
But if you're looking for a little relaxing palate cleanser, then it's the way to go. It's a good little addition, especially if you've got Game Pass. I don't actually know how much it is without it.
I was going to say to you,
$16.79
on sale though, so 21 UK pounds, not on sale.
Definitely don't pay full price for that. Would be my advice. I cannot endorse that.
No.
But I feel like it's one of those that like you'd be able to pick up on. I assume it'd be on Steam or something on a sale, or
yeah.
And I don't think you could be too disappointed at getting it for below. I'd probably say you want a third off that £21 ideally to make it acceptable.
Yeah. What is the so that's a bronze for Mythwrecked Ambrosia Island. You have to expand that cell because it cut off Island. So that's a longer title than what's used to be going in that bronze area. Is there a maximum hourly requirement for palate cleansers? Because remember Spiritfarer is the classic example we always go back to and shit on because it was like 25-30 hours.
Bloatfill, yeah.
And it felt like that was too long. Are we going to start capping these, saying, look, it has to be under a certain time? Or is it just the style of game where it's so somewhat relaxing and just fits the mood that overrides the length for palate cleanser territory?
I think palate cleansers have to be cleared. I would probably say palate cleansers should be in the sub 10 hour.
Right, no double figures.
They shouldn't really be getting into double figures in my view.
It is a dangerous game letting longer ones in because this is what happened with games in general. At one point, 50 hours was fucking unbelievably long.
Yeah.
Now, fucking every open world game, if you don't get 50 hours out, people are complaining. So if you start letting them have a little bit of freedom, they will make them longer because they definitely listen to what we say. So,
yeah, I like a little palate cleanser to be sub 10 hours. I like a sort of a story adventure game to be sort of sub 30 hours. And then when you start getting into open world games, 60, 70 hours. So that's kind of like how I view them. But there is flexibility in that. Like, if you think about Assassin's Creed Valhalla, like that was Bloatville, but then they did so many additional DLCs and stuff for it. Like, by the time you're at the end, like, you're in the 120 hour category.
Yeah.
But that, I'm kind of, I sort of go 10 up to 30 and then up to sort of like 60. But, you know, it depends what you're doing.
Yeah. I wouldn't mind a 30-hour open world game. Back to that old way. That would feel quite breezy. And you could get everything done in the 30 hours.
Because everyone would go, now when you look at the price of games, you sort of going 70, 80 pounds.
Yeah, but...
like, for 30 hours, and people start crying about it, so they just blow them out.
Stop fucking blazing through everything. Content, let it be wheeled out. But yeah,
it's quality. I'm definitely quality over quantity. Like, I definitely prefer that. I mean, I'll expect an amount of quantity to enjoy, but ultimately, I'd much prefer the content that they give me and the things to do to be good, fun, enjoyable, and engaging than just goose chasing around a map for an extra 20 hours. Like, I absolutely dislike that. But everyone's different, right?
They are, but a lot of people are getting it wrong. So they're bad influences, trying to get these games bloated out. And my problem is this lack of fast travel that just adds another 10 hours and everything. So I've got to always consider that when I'm talking about these fucking games. Anyway, on to stuff that may have been costing you. Now, I don't know how you want to position this because you seemed somewhat frightened about calling this a review, which means... not that we use the terms too cemently, but it sounded like you weren't willing or didn't want to perhaps put it in the gallery or decide upon that. Didn't want to decide upon its fate just yet. We've just under 12 hours logged, but this is Fragpunk for those that are wondering. So I think this is a new streaming 5v5 hero shooter type game. I remember seeing a lot about it, and again, I think it was through streamers, but I didn't really, obviously I didn't look into it. But going back to that before I start fucking waffling on about other stuff, where do you want to position this? It's down to you, but it does mean you have to return at some point and render a verdict if you don't do it now. Or is there a better way to do this? Yearly updates, season updates. How's this one work? Help.
I don't really know is the answer as yet. This game was one that I saw Shroud playing as kind of like an early alpha.
Are you allowed to say the what Shroud, or is he controversial? Or is he one of the good ones?
No, he's not controversial.
He hasn't got himself in any hot water.
Not that I know of. I mean, he's probably one of, if not the
Has he talked about tariffs
biggest.
yet? Has he given his opinion on tariffs?
Every other country. I don't. Yeah, everyone thinks they're an expert on that shit, don't they?
Look, am I in the red or the green? And that's how I decide. And I walk off. I won't look today.
At the moment, it's daily. It could be either or. But he got on this, and I was like, because he played a lot of Valorant. He's sort of like, I think he used to be on a competitive Counter-Strike team, so he's sort of always done and covered a lot of these sort of games. He played a lot of anything that's kind of like first person-y, he will play.
Yeah.
And he's outrageous, by the way, like ridiculous.
He's one of those skilled ones, is he? Like Ninja was on.
Honestly.
So he's not one of these funny, like he's not there just to be funny. He's actually good at the game. No, that's part of the appeal of watching.
He's really, really good. Right. Like his accuracy is just outrageous. But anyway, so I caught him playing this, and I was a bit like, and I can't say I've ever been too big on like playing a lot of Counter-Strike, or especially lately, and I never got onto Valorant with you guys. So it's not saying that I'm sort of like steeped in kind of wanting to play those sort of games, but there was something about this that sort of felt a bit more accessible to it. Like a lot of Counter-Strike and Valorant feels, if you're not good or you're not at a certain level, you'll get heavily punished, and I think it's tough to have.
I went 3 hours without getting a kill once on a session. I was fucking caned. But
Yeah.
I remember just sitting there thinking, I haven't even killed anyone for about 12 like matches in a row here. Don't know what Dave was thinking at the time, but he didn't say anything.
He's not critical, to be fair.
No, until you go off, and then he
critical, man.
fucking absolutely probably slags you off to everyone in the Discord. But
So yeah, I was always a bit like not scared off by it, but I didn't like the overly competitive nature of those games. Like, I don't need that stress at 11 o'clock at night when everyone's playing them. Like, it's not what I'm about. So I'd kind of always sort of steered away from them. But this just had a bit more of a casual feel about it. Like, it had a bit more of a comic feel. Like, basically, it's saying, let's just go, okay, it's Valorant.
yeah,
But every round, there are modifiers. And you can choose from a selection of what those modifiers are, but they're random, right? So you could, one of the modifiers could be like bullet ricochet. So rather than actually having to aim at someone, you can just let off at a particular corner and the bullets will ricochet around there and kill someone. Like, it had an
are
element
they tracking,
of...
or is it just the angle? If it hits them, it'll hit them. It won't...
Just the angle,
Okay,
yeah. So just ricochet. So, but like Shroud, for example, would be like shooting a wall, and it'd like with a sniper, it'd ricochet off and kill them and stuff. Like, it's just, it just had a bit of like nonsense to it, and it wasn't just that. Like, you can have some rounds, you'll have big heads, so it'll be easier to get headshots either on you or on the other team because they're walking around with these massive heads. There's one where you can, if you crouch for like 10 seconds, you'll lay an egg, and then you can eat the egg, and it will give you health back. Like, it's just...
And these are
There's loads of
random
different...
at the start, or do you vote on them, or is there any influence?
So you vote on. So basically, every round you get what's called shard points, depending on how well you and the team do.
Right.
And then you can buy these at the beginning of the next round for X. So certain cards will have a certain number of shard points, and some have multipliers as well. So there's just so many different random ways that affects the next round. So you can swap teams, as an example. So the other team might have a card that says to remove a bomb site or to add a bomb site or do something like that. And then they use all their points doing that. And then you actually swap teams with them so that it's completely irrelevant because you're actually attacking the bomb site. Like, there's loads of different ways it affects the round. But essentially, I just felt like those modifiers removed what I would call like the sweatiness a little bit.
Yeah.
Like it becomes less sweaty about people protecting certain sight lines or having to go to certain bomb sites and do certain things because each round becomes different and you have to react to it as a team.
Yeah.
And it's not like that takes it too seriously. Like the modifiers are, some of them just completely ridiculous. Like some of them will be, there's one where you only have knives. Like, it removes all weapons and powers. You can only just run around knifing people. Like, so I just found that interesting that like the shift in dynamic felt more accessible to a more casual player.
Yeah.
And that's why I kind of got into it essentially and wanted to download it and play it. So yeah, I pretty much downloaded it, I think, on the day it was full released as a 1.0 on Steam. And it is free to play, so it's like a no-brainer to go for it and give it a bash. I pulled Hall in along that because I thought he seems to like these.
Yeah.
And I think we played one game with Dave, but I'm not sure where Dave sits on it. I think it was a bit...
He likes to sweat, doesn't he?
He likes to sweat. So I think because there wasn't the sweat...
He wants the toxicity and sweat to be peeling out.
Yeah.
Sweating toxic juice.
So yeah, essentially played a good sort of 10, 12 hours of what I'd call like the casual mode. So there is a ranked mode.
Okay.
Haven't entered that yet, but you kind of just got the standard sort of take it in turn of rounds and played a good bit of that. And I played a bit of team deathmatch on there as well, which is interesting.
Yes.
Because that obviously changes up. This is a smaller map. Just go around killing people for a bit and refining aim and getting used to some of the guns. But there's a lot of different dynamics to the game is what I would say. Like there's no buy system as such. Like you select a hero, you pick what gun you want, you basically pick your loadout and you can use that. You don't have to work your way up to certain weapons and cash or anything like. There's nothing like that. The only thing that does happen, if you die, I think 2 rounds in a row, you lose that weapon class. So the punishment essentially for that is you have to choose you have to choose an SMG or a marksman rifle or something like that, or a shotgun.
Forever?
So you kind of get punished. No, for the next round.
So one match
basically-
might be 5 rounds. How many rounds are normally in a match, roughly?
I think it's best of 3.
Okay.
Sorry, no. What does that mean?
Means you need to win 2.
It might be best of 5.
You need to win 3.
Yeah, that might be what it's.
Okay.
Yeah. So you need to win 3.
Are
I
these
think is
single
what it is.
life rounds? So if you die, you're done, like Valorant.
Yes.
Okay, so that's
Yes.
that's the kicker there. Okay, so that's interesting. So for that match, you could be handicapped essentially and lose access to your favourite weapon. When you then go to a new match, though, your options are replenished and the counter starts again. It doesn't...
Well, no. It's just for the round. So say I had lost the first 2 rounds.
Yeah.
The next round, I would have to select an SMG.
Yeah.
Then if I die in that round, or if I live, I can come back in the next round. And
Oh,
use an
okay,
assault
right. So
rifle.
it's just a 1 round penalty. If
Yeah, you get a 1 round penalty. Yeah.
Okay, I gotcha.
Which is basically, I assume, the way of trying to stop people being too cavalier with their life.
Yeah.
Kind of add some stakes to sort of taking people on, I guess. I assume that's the idea behind it. But obviously, conversely, if you're just getting crapped on, it's like a double punishment. Like, not only are you getting drilled, you also lose the weapon that you're most comfortable with. So it's a bit of a different dynamic. But basically, no. So I need to double check what the round thing is, because it's not a best of. It's you play. I think you play 6 rounds.
Right.
And if it can end in a draw,
Sure.
right? So if you end up with 2 or 3 rounds, however many it is each, after the end of the game, you go to basically a one-on-one duel, right? To see who wins. Now, basically, you can pick the order that you want to go in. You'll then put what first person from each team is put up against each other, and they fight. Whoever wins stays on, right? But you stay on with the amount of health that you finish from the last round.
Okay.
So the idea is whoever then from that the 5 people on the team is standing. So whoever has like basically the last life standing wins.
Yeah.
And that decides who wins. So that's a nice little modifier as well that I thought. It's kind of like you do the round based thing, and then if that ends in a draw, you do a 1v1 essentially to see who's best.
Winner stays on.
It's winner stays on, which is kind of a nice little
So can you not
high stakes.
Can you end up not getting called to that if like say
Yeah.
Dave just smashed the other team and didn't die?
Yeah.
Okay, and you can just sit there with feet up and take the title.
Yeah. I always went 5th because I was like, I don't trust myself.
Oh, you
here to
choose,
not
do
fuck
you?
this up. Yeah, you choose. You can
interesting.
choose
It's not
which order you
random.
go in. It's not random, no. So you can choose whether you want to go first, mid, or back
Hey,
end.
you don't want to go
Like, but
fifth. That's the pressure cooker.
Well, no, it's just like
Sudden death.
It's just interesting because I was like, the first one we did, I was like, I'm going to go 5th to watch out, see how this
Right,
plays
yeah.
out, like what the map's like. Because if you don't know the map
No,
or where
you-
people go, but I've only done it sort of 2 or 3 times, and
I suppose that's 6
it's
rounds.
kind. I think the nice sweet spot is like mid range, or like 2nd, 3rd, 4th,
Yeah.
because then probably 2nd or 3rd, you sort of can get in there and you know what's kind of going
Yeah,
on.
and it's not terminal if you blow it. Like if
Yeah,
someone
exactly.
else can pick
Yeah,
up
yeah.
the slack. Or you could hear it from there realistically if you had like a couple of good rounds. Interesting.
But yeah, like the overall gameplay's nice as well. It plays nice. Like the maps play nice. There's a good variety, I think I would say as well. Like people do have different preferences and play styles, which mixes it up a little bit. All the characters have different abilities that you have to get used to.
Right. Yeah.
But I would say it's definitely less sweaty than like a Counter-Strike or a Valorant. Like you do feel like
Palette cleanser of competitive multiplayer, they're calling it. Trying to relax.
it's
on
just
it.
it's just a bit kind of like no one's there's not as much. It doesn't feel as competitive.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure it is in ranked play,
Right.
but like you can just go onto this and play a few games, and they'll all be different as well. Like the modifiers will change, and it everything's fresh, which I like about it. Like not what each different round will be different, and each different game will be different because of the rounds being different. It's a nice an interesting way to do it. I don't know how that lends itself to competitive play, though. That is what I would say. Like, do you really want that to be the case when you're, playing for money, or like, because then people will feel hard done by if they get shit cards. Yeah. Like, if you get shit modifiers and the other team gets good ones, like, it really does tilt.
Yeah, you've had
balance, like, and you've had it. Yeah, so it's good as a casual play, but I think that like those competitive, I could never see this being like a competitive game like Counter-Strike is with proper teams and stuff like that. I just don't think it will lend itself well to that.
No, that makes sense. There's too many variables. They probably won't attract those sort of people either, because they want the skill-based, I'm the best, not, oh, that fucker got a better shard card than me, or utilised this, or got a better role.
And I feel like that. Like, there's some rounds where you'll go, well, we're fucked here. Like, if they've got big heads and like something else as well, like, you just know that you're in a bit of a torrid time. Like, you can just tell on the rounds, like, where the advantage lies. So yeah, it's I'd say it's definitely a way more sort of competitive 5v5. It's a more casual version of that, which I liked, and that's why it appeals to me.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's a positive. The one thing that has confused me is there's constantly shit flashing up on the screen for challenges, new this, new that, stickers, new. Yeah. Like, it's fucking the actual, like, screen itself is like overwhelmingly, like, it overwhelms you with shit on it. Like, if you look at the menu screen on this, there's just stuff everywhere. There's challenges, there's fucking stickers, there's a battle pass, there's a premium battle pass, there's all that shit bolted on top of it.
Yeah.
And there's about 3 different currencies. You got Fragpunk coins, you've got Glue Knight coins, and you've got gold. So there's 3 different things, and they all do very similar stuff. And I'm like, why have we got 3 different currencies in a game? Like,
yeah, it's a lot.
That's weird and unnecessary. But yeah, there's a lot of different. It's a lot of different, what do you call them, like, skins and things like that on there. I have to say, I think they're all shit. There's nothing there where I'd go, oh, I have to buy that with my money.
Right.
Like, so they've added all of these currencies and all of these kind of like skins and shit in, and they're not that good. So I feel like at some point they'll have to refine kind of the economy of the game, I think, because it doesn't feel like it's quite there. But yeah, I don't know how much longevity it's got. My gut feel is that it may get a couple more sessions. It doesn't feel like something that's going to be on the menu for a long time, but you never know. Depends what crops up. Like, I would say I'd been playing it, and then something like Warzone 1.0 gets released.
Yeah. And
that would absolutely trump it, and that fills the kind of competitive first-person shooter gap. So time will tell, essentially. Difficult one to review, though. I don't really know how to give it a definite score.
These are always tough. So as far as I understand, we're in season 0 called Wild Dawn, which was like the launch back in March.
Yeah.
Does it? I mean, you talked. I'm reading there's like 3 different battle pass versions: a free, a premium, and an ultimate. And I guess they're all paid and whatnot. And I think you've answered this question, but just to make sure I completely understand, there's no pay to win elements to this. It's purely cosmetics, and it's that's where it starts and ends at the end of the day.
Yeah, I mean, there's an argument that, like, some of the characters are locked, and you need,
Chum.
I think, Fragpunk coins or something like that. Yeah, so I've unlocked Chum.
Yeah.
So I think that as you go throughout it, I've unlocked 2, haven't paid any money for it. So they do give you the tools to do it, but I think there's still 3 or 4 characters I haven't unlocked, and they probably take a little bit of time. So there might be a way through that battle pass to unlock some different characters, but I've never, so far in that 12 hours, come up a character or anything that I think, oh, that seems pay to win. Like, it is very cosmetic based, but then I'm like, again, as I said earlier, I don't think the cosmetics are that good. There's nothing there where I'm like, I really want that.
Yeah.
So it feels weird that there's all these different standards, if you like, to the battle pass. I don't know. I don't get why people want it. Like, there's nothing there where you
No.
you want.
Well, that's a good place to be, isn't it? Rather than the opposite, where if you don't pay, you're going to be cack-handed or feel left out.
I'm always caught in between, right? Because
Give me the
we can get
freebies.
onto this. I've got the latest Warzone battle pass because I've gone back to it and I had some COD points left over, so I thought I might as well chuck them in and use it. And Call of Duty's different. So there's things within the battle pass that really, if you want to be competitive, you need.
Right.
And I kind of resent that, but at the same time, I like having something that I'm also working towards, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I like a target there that I'm like, okay, I want to get that out of it. Whereas with these games, sometimes not having a target feels it removes a layer of interest. I think is how I describe it. So it's kind of a bit of a double-edged sword. It's like you don't want it, but at the same time, you do want something there to feel like you're working towards something as well, other than just playing round after round after round. Because what are you're having fun while you're doing it, but you also want to feel like there's a target that you're working towards. I feel like.
Yeah, it's a tough balance. There's definitely a wrong way to do it, which is where they go too far with paid stuff behind paywalls and whatnot. But there's also, like you said, a way where they're too hands off and sort of allow you just to get somewhat bored and not engaged.
I feel like there has to be a reward for putting your money in there.
Yes,
like fundamentally, you have to feel like I've spent my $9.99 or whatever it might be, and I've got my money's worth. What that is, I don't know, but I think that as long as it does that, I think that's something that the Rocket Pass, for example, and Rocket League has done badly of late. But it's something that I always feel like Fortnite with the Battle Pass did well with. Like they got a good balance of good cosmetics and things in there that you wanted to use. And I just feel like this one didn't.
Helldivers, the ultimate blower.
What was that?
Just a load of took, really. There was two versions of it, a premium and a non-premium. It was just, there's weapons sometimes, skins and armors. They did have stats.
The weapons were shite though. That's what annoyed me about that.
There's a couple of them that weren't I can't they call it Vanguard packs or something, and they were some of. I think that's where a lot of people have big criticism for it. I mean, not really a problem for me, but platinum 100 hours and whatnot. But then again, once I got the platinum, I was like, okay, bye. Because
you have to have something. Like you have to be working towards something in these games where, if you think back to Helldivers, you're doing pretty much the same thing. Okay, you could argue that you're making a difference to the overall battles, but really you're not.
No.
Like in the numbers, like it's very minimal. So you want to feel like you're progressing through things, right? It's like initially you're unlocking all the stuff in the ship, and then you go, well, I've done that.
Get those
and
samples
it's like, okay,
out.
well, and then you kind of, there has to be progress of some sort in shallow games, I think. Like, and that's where I fear a little bit for Fragpunk, is that I don't feel like the loop is that fascinating, like the battle pass or the progression piece. But we'll see.
I do find that if Fragpunk seems like it's got some sort of foothold initially, at least, like not blowing bollocks off with content and players and engagement, but it's not like dead on its feet like Concord was. It's got enough players there where it's ticking along. And I always think if you're still in the game as it is, if you're still alive and kicking, they've got a chance to turn it around with a good season in the future. Like something really compelling comes along, it gets a bit of buzz and people come back. You find that these people move around in these games depending on what's tickling their bollocks and what's hot at the moment. And as long as you're still operating, you've got a chance to drag people in. Unfortunately, you've also got the option where you can absolutely blow it and turn people away. So you do have to get it right. But
I mean, it's only been out a month. I think it's unfortunate timing for them, I think, because a lot of the people that might have been streaming or playing this in the last week not and gone over to Warzone.
Yeah.
Like, and I think that is a bit of a problem for them, because will they then go back to this or not? I don't know. It might not be. And I think there is a place for it. Yeah, I think generally it's been well executed. I mean, I don't feel like I have any issues with performance or anything like that.
No.
Like, audio is a bit strange in it at times, like trying to figure out where people are. But most games have problem with audio and getting that balance right. So yeah, it's, as I say, it's still very early doors, I think, for me. I don't feel like I can put my finger on whether I think it's good or not, which is why I'm struggling to review it, because I'm like, I do enjoy it when I play it, but has it got the special sauce that makes me keep going back to it? And I think that's the key for me. If I still find myself going back to it, then it's got something about it that I think gives it a more warranted higher score.
What do we do with this then? How are we going to do these? Because
I think that's kind of
in my head, I thought they could be.
I can score it and then re-score it if necessary.
Yeah, if it comes back in the cycle, it can be put. Then the way I'd say you do it is you'd say Fragpunk Season 0 Wild Dawn. Here's what it is. Here's my thoughts on it after 12 hours. Done.
Yeah.
I'd put it here or not. And then chances are the next time you go back to it will probably be a big content drop, like a new season, potentially. Anything that's going to change your perspective, I would say, would be something. And then you come back and say, well, Season 1 Wild Morning actually has gone up or down, and the game's trending upwards or it's trending downwards, and they just sort of go in as individual seasons. Because that's from the outside looking in, that's what fundamentally seems to change how these games are perceived. It's kind of a way of tracking the timeline of it, and they're not permanent, are they? They're not a snapshot of a game. These games evolve, so tying it to seasons seems to be, or battle passes or whatever everything's doing seasons, isn't it? It feels like that's sort of like the game.
Yeah.
But I don't know, you're well better versed than me.
Yeah, look, I know where I'd put it.
Yeah.
I mean, I already know that.
Fucking bin, I hope.
So look, it goes into the gallery. Like I like it, and it's it's got me more than Counter-Strike 2 did. Like, I barely played that. That didn't get me, and this did. And
well,
yeah,
I don't think it has in real life, but for you,
no. But so it came and went. I played a couple of games of that, but it never really kind of got me, and I thought it would do, if I'm honest.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a lot about this game that I think is really fun, and the good thing about this game is if you're getting your pants pulled down, there's always a chance to get some good cards and have a good round or two and pull it back, right? And I think I do really like it. It's good fun. It's really accessible. So yeah, I would put it in the gallery at the moment on release, Season 0, Silver.
Silver for Season 0.
Yeah.
Wild Dawn. There you go. That's pretty good for Fragpunks.
It does. Honestly, there's nothing about like the gameplay that is any worse or better than Valorant or Counter-Strike. Like that, the actual core mechanics of it and the gameplay is as good as any other competitive 5v5. Like, so really what you're judging it by is the sort of Joker cards or whatever you want to call them, like the variables, and they're fun. I mean, not everyone will like it. So I mean, everyone will be saying, "Oh, don't like the unpredictability," but that's what I like. It's something different. It's a play on that that's fun to sort of experience. So overall good. Like it.
There we go. Silver for Fragpunk. It's Season 0 Wild Dawn phase. Not on consoles as we record this. Had a delay and said it'll be a few months, so maybe in the summer they'll bring it there. That might come with a host of new issues to deal with for people. But it sounds like, at least in the PC crowd, it's the network's up and running and not overwhelmed, and you're not sitting there getting booted out.
You're just super quick into games, super quick in. Like, the matchmaking's really good.
Once those console slots come along for the ride, they'll start clogging up space, so you've got to be careful.
I don't know whether they'll keep the servers separate, because then you've got that fucking auto-aim stuff, cross-play that everyone will cry about. So yeah, that'll be interesting to see how that plays out.
Right. I've got here Call of Duty Warzone.
Yeah.
What's it called?
I don't want to labour on this.
No.
I don't know.
What's
I
going
don't
on? Is
know.
it separate from Black Ops 6 or is it?
Yeah.
Or is this Black Ops 6
Well,
Call of Duty Warzone?
I don't know.
If I want to play it, what do I go? What do I go into? What do I search
Warzone.
for? Right. Okay.
Warzone. So
Warzone.
it's back to we're back to Verdansk.
What's that mean? That the original map?
The original map and they made a heap of changes in terms of like circle close
This is out
times. Out now, yes.
Recent reviews
out
on
last
Steam
week.
mostly negative. What's happened?
Yes, I think that's going to be Warzone as a whole for 5 years worth of experience. And I would still say that if someone asked me to review it, my experience since Verdansk went has been shocking. Like the only reason I've gone back to this is because not only have they brought back the old map, but they've brought back everything else that comes with it. So there's the guns are Black Ops 6 and all the guns are still there, right? So you got Black Ops 6 guns, Modern Warfare 2 guns, Modern Warfare 3 guns. That fucking hot mess is still going on, right?
Still got all that nonsense.
But they have put the map in every single way, as far as I understand, back to OG settings. So like to the point where there's not even zip lines up certain buildings and whatnot, right? Like it's absolutely OG. The only way that you can be brought back is either by winning your gulag or your teammates buying you back.
Yep.
There's no fucking bullshit random stuff where you get brought back or like it's literally bare bones Call of Duty Battle Royale.
Yeah.
Right. So basically just wanted to say that is fucking welcome that they've decided to do that. It's also a damning indictment of everything they've done over the past 5 years, really, since they got on. I don't know when they got rid of it. It might have been 2021, I assume, or 2022.
Yeah. When
they brought the new map in. But the last 3 or 4 years of Warzone has been a fucking hot mess. And it's great to drop back in once again with some of the OG.
I saw
COVID
fucking
crowds.
Parky on it.
Parky's been playing it a bit with Hall.
No.
So all that it's got a lot of interest back, and it's I don't know how much longevity it's got. Inevitably they'll fuck something up in the near future because they always do. But look, I just wanted to give a quick nod to the fact that it's good to play that. I'm glad they've brought it back. The release went really well. So, matchmaking was good when we jumped on there the first night it was out. I haven't experienced a whole heap of cheating yet. Right. Whether that's to come or not, I don't know. But it's felt like I haven't, there's the cheating problem, whether it's been resolved or not, I don't know, but I haven't had it. I think generally it's just been a positive. I just wanted to say that's a positive release for Call of Duty. It seems to have been largely well received by the majority of people, and it's just good to play it again. So, didn't want to overly labour it, but just wanted to give it a nod, considering we're talking, and it seems to be job reasonably well done.
So this released early April. So if I'm getting this right, they're calling it season 3, but surely there's more than 3 seasons, or they reset it with every game. I don't know what they're up to.
I don't know.
Season 3 of Call of Duty Black Ops 6 and Warzone. Because it's tied to that. Okay. So this is like season 3 of the Black Ops 6 arc. I guess they must reset that every year because there's a new game full of new weapons they got to bundle in, isn't there?
Yes.
But yeah, it's got obviously Verdansk coming back. Did they fuck this up when they went to 2.0? Is that when the problems started, or was it already in a bit of a mess before that and then they just crapped on it more? Or did that even recover it and then they crapped on it again? Because I remember that being a massive deal, the move to 2.0. Yeah,
so what they did was, I think that's when Vanguard come out. And basically they go... they hit gold with Verdansk. Like, that map had all of the things in there that everyone, like, it had the change in heights, it had the dynamics, it was just a really good map to play for a battle royale. Yeah. And the problem they've had is that some of the other maps just haven't been as good to play. and they've added all sorts of shit onto it over the years. I mean, there was one, I remember playing it a couple of years back around Christmas time, and there was something that in the game, an event that they added, which was called the Krampus.
Yeah.
And basically, randomly, a fucking big old monster would come and chase after you. So you're not only are you trying to survive in Verdansk, you're trying to fucking run away from this Krampus and stuff. And it's just been played with stuff like that, which I don't think people have been loving.
No.
They're constantly changing the meta, right? So they will put a gun in a battle pass that makes you buy the battle pass to get the battle pass gun that's good. And then 3 months later, they'll nerf that gun and there'll be another gun that's... So you're constantly chasing what's called chasing the new meta.
Yeah.
Like, what's the most powerful guns? What's
No
the
meta on
highest
Fragpunk because it's random. I ain't got to worry about it.
Exactly.
It's been moved up to a gold. No, it hasn't.
And Call of Duty's just been generally plagued as well by hackers and cheaters and things. Like, their ricochet system has just been fucking criticised to high hell, and I generally think they are still struggling. I've just been fortunate I haven't seen any so far.
Yeah.
So it's been plagued with problems, and it's, you know, it is in a way a bit of a damning indictment for it that really we're at this point 5 years later, and the most popular thing they can do is erase everything they've done, right? Like, genuinely, it's a bit of a shit show. I don't think the way that they've integrated the yearly releases with Warzone has been done well.
Yeah.
I think that's pissed off people. But, you know, I think I wasn't interested in it at all and wouldn't be interested in it unless they'd have brought this back. Like, this Warzone had become something that I didn't enjoy playing. It was too sweaty. People, there was no thought process. Everyone was so wanton with giving their life away. There was no stakes to it. Like, because it was so easy to get brought back.
Yeah, it wasn't. There was the.
You just get constantly pushed all the time, right? Whereas now it's like, well, if you die, you either win your gulag and come back, or your mates have got to find $4,000 for you.
Can they keep paying $4,000, or do you only get one extra shot? So if you had...
No, you can keep getting brought back,
but
it becomes increasing. It's expensive, yeah. And if there's 4 of you and 3 of you are dead, it costs someone $12,000 to buy you all back, right? So, yeah, it's just a bit higher stakes. I mean, look, we're having a rough time of things. I'm not going to lie, we haven't won a game yet, and it is the skill gap is big. Like, we are feeling our age on there for sure. But overall, I think we're all on the whole having a good bit of fun. And I just wanted to shout that out on here to say that is welcome. I just hope that they keep it there, right? I think one of the things that Fortnite's done really well with their modes is go, here's all the modes. If you want to play build, you can play build. If you want to play no build, you can play no build. If you want to play OG, you can play OG. If you want to, like, they chuck all their modes out there and say to everyone, you play the mode that you want to play.
Yeah.
Whereas Call of Duty goes, here's Warzone.
That's it.
Whether it's whatever map it's on, like it and I think it'd be nice for them to do something similar. They go, okay, well, you want to play this map, or you want to play this modifier, here's the OG version. Like, it'd just be nice for them to keep that kind of dynamic, I think. Whether they will or whether they won't, who the fuck knows. But yeah, I just wanted to give it a nod on this little chat, really, to say that having largely having fun, still getting frustrated, but it's good to go back to and relive the good times that we had. Because this was the saviour of COVID for a lot of people, right? Like
Animal Crossing, turnip trading.
Well, you got that as well. But on the other spectrum, you got this.
Yes.
So,
well, maybe we'll come back next month, because these seasons last normally about 8 weeks, something like that.
Yeah.
We'll see how it goes.
I will say, I don't think it's going to be like a long-term thing. I think it's probably going to slowly, for whatever reason, whether they do balance changes and updates, fuck it, they'll meddle. And I think whether they meddle in the right or the wrong way will tell you whether, basically tell you whether we stay or go.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll see. We'll watch this space for that and see whether Warzone returns with more positive, trending up or trending down. It might just disappear into the ether. Who knows? I'm going to quickly close this segment out. I'm not going to dross on about it because me, Adkins and Biff talked about Grand Theft Auto 5 last month in depth. Full spoilers. So it was tagged. If anyone got snarled up in that, it's your own fault. I think I even said it at the start of the episode as well, if I remember correctly. But at that point, I was on the fence about going for the 100% checklist items. So this isn't a full-blown analysis of that. I just wanted to report back with my findings of it, having finished it earlier today. So it's fresh off the boat there. The reason why I wanted to do this is not because there's a trophy attached to it. There is. Nice little gold trophy. But there are certain quests, or as they're kind of framed in GTA 5, as strangers and freaks, that don't unlock unless you have 100%ed the game or done certain collectible type jobbies. And really, I just wanted to see what those quests... I'd read about them years ago, so I kind of knew what they were. But I did want to get through all of the quote-unquote story content, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And so doing the Strange and Freaks, one of them in particular requires you to hit 100%, and it's like a bit that you can do at the end. So I think when I finished the playthrough, I'd got to like 85%. But there's a lot of dross that has to go on to get to the 100%.
Yeah.
We're talking hobbies and pastimes, do all the stunt plane stuff, doing the ammunition rounds, the challenges in there, street racing, arms trafficking, hunting, flight school, wildlife photography, parachute jumps, etc., etc., etc. The real stinker, though, and I think this is so overindulgent, is the collectibles that are tied to certain Strange and Freaks. Like there's 3 sets of collectibles that are tied to Strangers and Freaks, 3 separate collectible items. You've got 50 spaceship parts, you've got 50 letter scraps, and you've got 30... Oh, no, sorry, it's 30 submarine parts. And they're tied to Stranger and Freaks progression. So you need to... If you want to see the story like I wanted to, you have to go through all that too. Now, the letters and the spaceship parts aren't so bad, because actually on the Rockstar Social Club, where it tracks all this, so you can log in,
I forgot
do
about
your
that.
profile. It actually shows you the location of all the shit in there. So I used that, and it was really helpful. A couple were difficult to find, so I had to resort to other resources. But that's excessive for like... There shouldn't be... There's actually 4 sets of collectibles that you can do in the game, but those 3 are tied to quests, and I was just a bit annoyed about doing that, if I'm honest. It took... Obviously, it was forever, and it was annoying. But on the good side is actually doing the collectibles, particularly the letter scraps and the UFO parts. I got to visit a lot of locations I didn't even know existed. Like, I forgot the racehorse track was even there. And I had to wander around. I was like, why is this here? It's
Why
not.
have they bothered adding it?
Yeah, I don't know whether they were planning to add a mission later on. I mean, the big rumour is that there was a lot of DLC. Well, not a lot. There was DLC playing single player. GTA Online came out and absolutely crapped everyone out.
Blew it away,
and they went,
yeah.
well, no point doing that because we don't need to. So perhaps there were bits like that. But it was nice seeing, like, there's so many little details again that you find by going into these places, like going around searching, because it puts them in areas that I guess are landmarks that you just drive by a million times, and you go in there and investigate. Like, oh shit, there's actually like a little bit in here that I didn't even know existed. That it really just reinforced what a great game this is when it comes down to level of detail and density. The game was really twice as big as I ever thought it was. Just by doing this arduous task, I was like, bloody hell, there's a lot more here.
It's quite a big game, though.
I know, initially, yeah, exactly.
Years,
it's massive anyway. But the amount of layers in it, I was like, it gives me a bit more of an appreciation of it. And it was kind
it's not frustration, though.
Oh, yeah. I mean, there's things like doing the stunt jumps. You've got to do 25 out of the 50 of those. They're a pain in the arse. What I didn't realise, and this is my own fault, is on the checklist, it's got like all the missions, hobbies and pastimes, Strange and Freaks, random events, which fortunately you don't have to do all of because you have to find them at certain times with certain characters, etc. And then miscellaneous, which is like, collecting stuff, stunt jumps, etc. And they've all got like numbers, 30 out of 30, which I've done, 58 out of 58, 61 out of 61. at the very top, it's got a checklist progress, and I noticed that the numbers are slightly lower. So it's only got 42 hobbies and pastimes you've got to do. I did 61. So I think I could have got away with not doing some of the stuff. But now I do have a complete clean slate here, and I got to what I wanted to do and unlocked the strangers and freaks that I wanted to do and whatnot. I wouldn't recommend doing this, though. Just look it up. Unless you're really interested in having it. But in my head, I was like, I'm not really going to play this game ever again once GTA 6 comes out. Yeah, so if it does come out this year, it's done. I might as well just really... Like, I've been playing games much more full lately. I was like, this is the last chance to do it. And I was like, I'll just do it. It's one of the great games ever. So I don't mind it. But there were times when I was sitting there going, what have I done here? What have I committed to?
I've already committed to it. Ronnie's already said you've got to do it. So then
I was thinking, well, actually, you could just stretch this out a little bit. Like, just do once a week. And I was like, I'll just get it off the plate. Just fucking steamroll through it. But anyway,
tricky, isn't it? Because then you have all that stuff sitting there in the back of your mind thinking, I've got to do all that crap as well.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't great, but a helicopter helps with a lot of the collecting stuff because you can just move around.
Yeah, true.
And some of it you need a helicopter for. It's on top of buildings and shit. So it's nice that you can use this Rockstar Social Club, but in the game for the stunt jumps, for example, there's a map on the internet. So I like the fact in game there are certain things like the stunt jumps that are findable if you know where to look on the website.
Yeah.
If you put in like adrenaline junkie or something, it brings up the map where they're located. Because I
forgot about that.
One of my big issues is having to go to YouTube to do things. It annoys me. I think the game should have some mechanism. This does have that, except for the stunt jumps. And I guess you could say the social club, the tracker, it's not in game, but it's still attached to the game. It's official. It's there as a resource. I like that they thought about that and had that in place because, I just resent having to go to outside sources and to find stuff. In theory, you could use Rockstar Social Club and the website to get 99% of this. I think the only thing it won't show you are the bridges, but you can just look on the map and see the bridges and make your own judgment because you've got to fly under fucking 15 of those bastards. For some reason, that's an event that needs doing. And still, I said this last time. The random events that pop up.
Yeah,
ran into about another 4 that I'd never seen before. This is my third playthrough of it, and I've still
it's so big. Though.
I've still got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. What's that? 6 times? Is that 10? There's like 60 of these. I've done 26. I mean, there's a lot there. I mean, about 8 of them are those security vans that you rob, which are 2. But 50 odd like uniques. I found a hitchhiker earlier I'd never run into before. Fucking crackhead she was. Poor old Frank had to listen to her rattling off in his ear roll. But yeah, this was like the last sort of like send it out on a swan song. The game deserves it. Yeah. So I went through it. I've now got 100% done in game and on my Rockstar profile, trophy collected, and got to see what I wanted to see in the game. So happy to do it. Wouldn't recommend it unless you really are desperate. But I don't know if you had any questions about GTA 5 since I'm now very familiar with it. But
no, I mean, I've toyed many times over the years going, should I go back to it? I don't know if I could do a clear down of that.
No, that's excessive.
But it's just, I just think it's great that people are still going back to that and still playing it in 2025. It's quite something, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I might make a commitment to myself in 2020 or whenever GTA 6 comes out that I really, really properly make a commitment to not clear it down necessarily, but not try and just blast through it.
Yeah.
And sort of savor it. And I think now I'm a bit older, I can do that. Like I'll be like, okay, this is what we're doing today, and figure it out rather than just sort of trying to mainline.
Yeah.
A lot of it. So yeah, no, I don't think there's any questions other than just tip my hat to you really to say fair play for sitting there and going through it and doing it in 2025.
Yeah, it was the last chance. We're told it'll probably get delayed anyway, and they would have had another year. But
yeah,
I've had this since the PS5 come out almost. I think maybe a year into it, the PS5 version launched. And I was like, oh, I'll do that. Didn't. So.
Got to get on the menu, innit? Got too many other bloaters.
That's it. I've got to figure out what I'm going to do next, which I've no idea. This afternoon's job. So I'll figure it out, get that roadmap installed.
Reprioritize.
Yeah. Well, I've got some palette cleansers that I've just sat there, so I just need to go stop getting snarled up in this stuff. I don't think there's much old stuff I want to go back to and redo. I think I've cleared what I wanted to, urgently anyway. Like Death Stranding, GTA, and Ghost of Tsushima are all coming out. Their sequels are all due this year, so that needs to be sort of rectified. Whereas I think the other stuff, I've made peace with Yakuza, never been up to date with, so it doesn't matter if they release another 8 games. I'll get to it one year. I need to just make sure and have the extra list of other stuff. So I don't want to get in this situation again where I've got to do 3 of them on the bounce, pretty much to get them out with ample time.
It's a slog for sure.
But that's what the roadmap will do. Anyway, that will do for this segment of the podcast. Don't know what's next. Never do. So we'll see you.
We'll figure that out.
Yeah. Well, they can see in the notes, these fuckers. It might just be this. Shortchanged them. We'll see you on the other side.
This was a Dimp Digital production.